Gianmarco in the building.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen.
How you doing?
It's finally happening. The long-awaited collab of the century of...
What a week to come to.
I know.
Truly.
Yeah.
I brought some,
Oh,
just in case
Did you make sure that...
there's a Petco quite close. So I just want to make sure.
Don't dox me.
I felt good. Oh, sorry. Did I fuck something up?
No,
it's nowhere
not.
near.
Yeah.
We got some toys.
Yeah, the victim of abuse.
I wrote my number just in case she ever wants to give me a call. You need anything, buddy?
Wait, don't actually show your phone number if you did.
I knew that. I knew how to fake it.
Okay, all right. I'm worried. Some people don't know.
I know I'm new. I'm new to all this. I got a bone.
Wow.
And then some balls. So there we go. I don't know what she can have.
Well, she can't have any of it.
Okay,
and I'm gonna strap the zapping collar on you next.
Sure,
for doing that.
And then for you, I got some black electric tape in case you run out. So,
Thank you. I've run out of it in my
I've seen
in my mass cover up schemes. This is going to make all of the most schizophrenic people insane. By the way, what you just did.
But walking in, listen. I'm obviously a fan, so I'm completely biased. But walking in, you go, oh my god, she's ran up to me. She's adorable. She's huge. Yeah. I didn't realize the size.
Yeah, she's 120 pounds.
But
you want to see her tricks? You got mad tricks.
I saw the hand.
Oh yeah, shake.
Oh,
very good.
Come on. What are the tricks?
Well, I mean, it's mostly just like off leash walking.
Sure.
So she's
other hand, yeah.
Yeah, she can do. She has the obviously the famous place command. And when I do that, she goes and lays on the cot. She can lay down. She can roll over. Let's see if I can make her roll over right now. Hold on.
Let's see it.
Let's see. Here. Hold on. Out of the way. Kaya, come here. Good girl. No. Oh. Kaya, come. Kaya, come here. Good girl. Okay. Kaya, sit. Good girl. Down. Good girl. Roll over.
Whoa.
Roll over. Yeah, good job. Okay. Good girl. And then up, guy up. And then we got this is the other one where she jumps up at me, but it's not actually a good behavior, but I still can't stop myself from doing it. Kaya, up. Kaya. Oh, she's not doing it. Kaya. Up. Kaya. Oh god. Okay, well. Kaya, up. Where are you going? Come here. Come here. It's not good. I don't want her to jump on strangers.
How much does she weigh?
110 pounds, give or take.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Well, we already.
Show me.
Let's see. This is the one that she goes crazy for. Look, see, she loves the pill pockets.
Yeah. What's a pill pocket? I see.
When I drug her, this is what I use. Because I'm abusive to my dog. Hey, up. Hey, up. Oh wait, hold on. Let me try this actually. Okay, stay. Okay. Sit pretty. Sit pretty. Sit pretty. No, she's not doing it. Never mind. Okay, that's all I got. Good girl. That's all we got for now.
Well, good. Well,
she's performance shy.
Yeah, that's fine. Me too.
Yeah.
I get there.
Yeah.
But how you doing?
She got a bunch of different. I'm doing great. I'm having a little bit of a crazy week.
Why? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How do you manage? How do you in therapy?
No, I'm not.
Come on, go to therapy.
I know everyone always
This
tells
doesn't
me,
count as fucking therapy over here.
No, this is what I do. I use my audience as therapy.
This is, I imagine, when I see these streams on Twitch, it's how I imagine in schizophrenia it works in your brain. Just constant thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've never been to therapy?
No, I've not.
Oh.
I've done I've talked to a psychologist before or a psychiatrist before, but I've never I haven't been consistently going to therapy.
Sure. I think it'd be fair if you did shock therapy. That might ease some stuff up.
That might make me less gay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Listen, well, tell me if it works. I mean, conversion therapy is coming back, it seems like.
It is. Well, that's what I was. See, that's the thing. Like Republicans, they were all on board. They're like, I can't believe you're doing shock therapy to your dog.
Yeah.
They want to do it.
We only do it to our gay children.
Or, I mean, I did get a call from the Department of Homeland Security. They were like, we want to bring you in as the deputy director to Kristi Noem. Turns out the qualification was that if you are, even if you're suspected of abusing dogs, they're like, that's good enough for us. That's the most important standard.
Well, I'm sorry you're dealing with it. It's intense. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I think if you invited them all over, truly walking in the door, just seeing Kaya run up, you go like, oh, that's a happy girl.
Yeah, they would love to be
one by one.
over.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Have a big party.
Let me
let them get to know you better.
Let me bring all my fucking rabid psychopathic haters. Yeah.
But you holding up okay, or you just frazzled? You sleeping?
No, I'm perfectly fine.
I cannot believe you're not in therapy. You got to go to therapy.
I feel like if I don't know. I feel
there's no good excuse. Tell me why.
The way my brain is busted, the way my brain is really fucked up is like perfect for what I do though. Like what if I lose my energy?
Yeah.
What if I become too normal and then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like a monkey in a cage.
I've known you for
every
5
day.
minutes. You're never going to become too normal.
No, I think I could. If the therapy would fix me too good.
No, you want to be able to do this. It's about longevity.
She wants belly rubs, by the way. This is what she does.
No, it's about longevity and taking care of yourself. I can't believe I do this with people, but you should try. Give it a try. It doesn't have to be that serious.
Well, it's like, how am I gonna? The other part of this that I always think about is like, how am I going to explain like the issues that I go through to a therapist? Because like, it's almost entirely about like, I'm not anti-therapy. I think it's great for people, and everyone should do it, myself included. And I'm a major hypocrite for not.
Well, you might go to therapy. You might not talk about your immediate problems. You might be like, well, the H3 guy, blah, blah, blah. But you talk about your childhood.
H3 guy.
But like I'm in a couples counseling with my girlfriend, and sometimes she's my manager, and we're in showbiz. And sometimes the manager is like, well, maybe you need to set more like clear hours of work. And we're like, yeah, that's not how it works. And then you move on, and then you talk about something else.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey, I have like a fairly sophisticated cyber stalking operation that combs through with the most cynical perspective over 2,600 hours of footage of me online, and tries to find any moment where I like move my arm and if it lines up. If it lines up with my dog moving behind me, then they create this elaborate narrative that I'm like abusing my dog and like zapping her.
Okay, so if I was a therapist, rather than deal with that, I'd say, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah. Crazy.
Sure. Yeah. And that's what therapy is for.
I think I have a healthy approach to it though, where I'm like, people are going to some people are going to be, some people are destined to hate me. You can't win everybody.
Sure. But then I think the problem, don't you feel like when you look at people older, like let's get those older famous people, don't you think they start to develop a life where they go, I have haters and fans? And that's not a healthy dichotomy.
Oh no, but that's just the internet. I think the people in the real world are not like that at all.
I was with my girlfriend once. We were in a fight.
You flex about your girlfriend a lot.
I got to make it clear. I got my own soft accusers.
Yeah, so I was about to say,
gay baiting.
I used to be the number one straight guy who people said was gay baiting or queer baiting or was suspected of being gay. And then when you came on the field, nobody ever does that to me anymore. Because like you make me look like.
But what did you do? That you're a masculine guy. I mean, the way that you lift, the way that you like do the squats and stuff.
I think it's in many circumstances. I think it's just like, it's dependent on the audience's reception where I've begun to realize that it's like, if they want you to be gay, then you're technically, some people will say you're gay baiting.
Sure. Yeah. But you've worn some outfits. You've worn
I mean,
some
yeah,
outfits.
I've done like drag and stuff like that. I mean, I don't give a shit. I've
Yeah.
painted my nails in the past as a performative male.
I think people have to ask themselves whether their definition of what's straight is has become too narrow. So, like, there's a time men wore wigs and they wore kilts. They wear kilts. And so then in like this very straight American man version, suddenly you do drag once, you're gay baiting. Let a guy do drag.
Yeah, Rudolph Giuliani.
Yeah.
He did drag. Drag used to be like the thing that people's grandparents did, like during World War II when they were bored. Bored killing Nazis. They would do drag on the ships and shit.
And so some
now
people,
it's like a clear cut marker of queerness.
well, then there's some people that go like, oh, well, if you're doing that, you're making fun of it. Sometimes football teams will do the thing, the cheerleader swap. And I just go, it's good. If you're a masculine guy, put on a dress every once in a while. You're going to learn some things. You're going to appreciate, walk a mile in someone else's skirt.
Yeah.
And I think you will learn something. I think it is good to do.
Drag?
Yeah. When I was in third grade, I did a play based on a kid's book called Stregonona. And the whole thing is the teacher who taught the special noodles only taught women. So I put on a dress in third grade for the play, and I got a big laugh. And I think that's my origin. Is that gay baiting, or am I just following the script?
So that's what happened. You got your first laugh, and you were like, I got to do this forever.
Oh yeah.
It felt good.
Well, I just think it's in. I had a gay teacher in fifth grade, and I was like dancing before class one day, and he said to me, Gianmarco, I'm gay, but that's the gayest thing I've ever seen. And that's before I knew all the clout I could get from it. It is innate. There's something feminine by the current definition of it. I think we just need to expand.
Yeah.
What kind of drag are we talking? Were you doing like makeup? Did you shave?
I've never shaved for drag. I've never gone the full way, the full Monty. But
did you tuck?
No, I did not. But I've only done like there's a couple different versions of it, but like I've done like a maid cafe in Japan, which people love. What is this?
I'm going to Japan soon. Oh, that's
Anti Piker.
Yeah, they really want us. They're doing gay fanfic of us.
Oh yeah, that's Anti Piker. That's just how he is.
Yeah. It's
Wait.
nice.
Show him.
Oh wow.
That wasn't the full drag though. That was like when I was just like putting it on. Show the completed version.
Yeah, let me see the complete. I mean, that's
this is when we went to Japan to a maid cafe.
I can tell it's not gay because it's not even fitted. It's like you should have taken that to a tailor. That's a little tight on you.
Do you know how hard it is to find any clothes that fit me, let alone women's maid outfits?
I feel like you could say into the ether, send me a maid outfit the right size, and I will wear it, and you will get 50.
Yeah, well, I was in Japan. It's like
I'm going soon for the first time.
It's the best.
Oh, I can't wait.
You'll love it. It's awesome.
I was a little manga boy, so I'm so excited.
Oh, really? What'd you read?
I was early on in like America, like Shonen Jump when it was first published. I was walking around being like, there's actually a darker side to Yu-Gi-Oh.
Wait, you and I are the same age, I think, right? How old are you?
I'm 37.
Oh, you're a little bit older than me, but I'm 34.
I was so Shonen Jump. That was like it was like One Piece's introduction to America, Naruto, and I really liked Yu-Gi-Oh. And then one of my dad, he saw the cartoon, and what's the one with the blue eyes white dragon? What's his name? Brown.
Blue Eyes White Dragon is Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, but who's the guy? No, the like rich guy who has all the blue
People
eyes.
are saying Kaiba. I don't know. I didn't watch Yu-Gi-Oh.
But all I know is Kaiba took out his deck and he said, "Let's duel." And my dad just started laughing in like a and not like a nice way. He wasn't even trying to be mean. He was just like, "This is embarrassing." I made him see the Cowboy Bebop movie in theaters, and I don't think he ever forgave me for that.
That's the best.
It was so good.
Wait, you did drag as well? No, this is not drag. This is just you.
Just a shirtless. Oh,
you're just,
please don't pull up my shirtless pics while I'm sitting next to you.
Come on.
No,
you're shredded. You do have gay body for sure.
What does that mean?
It's just like you're gay fit.
I've been to Fire Island. I've seen the standards.
No,
this is like a neutral at a Fire Island pool party.
No.
This is like stand in the back.
You're gay fit, for sure. It's not it's
Not as a kid though. This took a long time. This is a lifelong pursuit.
Yeah.
So I could take this one picture in a dirty bathroom. Were you always athletic? Were you a sports kid?
No, I was a horseback rider.
Oh shit!
I was a professional show jumper.
Oh my god, my dad does horse. You ever fall?
Yes, of course I've fallen. Yes, I've fallen off horses. We all did drag at this camp, and it was not great. I did not look great. I'll admit. We needed to work, but that was that's me.
I think you need to do the next level of like, you hire a professional, full makeup, and you treat it with gravitas.
I think one of the funniest things is like this triggers Republicans more than anything else I do. I've like you can have like America deserved 9/11 moments, shit like that, but nothing pisses off people online like you doing drag. They literally will post the photo of me in the maid outfit nonstop under all of my replies. There's like accounts that are dedicated to just doing that. And I don't understand because it's like, yeah, bro, I put it on and I literally did it on camera. Like, you think this is a shameful moment for me?
What do you think it is? What do you think it is that triggers people to get so worked up about that? I don't fully get it. I know it's like cliche to be like, oh, well, they want to wear the maid outfit, so they're jealous. I think it bricks.
I've talked about this quite a bit within the confines of like transphobia, where, I had transphobic attitudes, transphobic opinions when I was growing up, and I've thought about this quite a bit, and I think it comes from like most people not having like any cultural signifiers that they can associate with beyond commodities. Mm-hmm. Especially in America, with the exception of gender. Gender has been presented as this like rigid thing, even though it's not.
Yeah, of course.
And therefore, like a lot of people see it as like a biological construct, which is not. And even the biological aspect of sex is still not the rigid binary that people present it as. Having said that, that is how it's taught to people, and that's something so they so closely associate themselves with, like what it means to be a man or what it means to be a woman, masculinity, femininity, that when a person does this, it just like breaks their consciousness.
Yeah, it's like a threat to the group. I guess I've never had, and I don't mean that in any braggadocious way, I just have always struggled to connect to like groups, whether it be Judaism or whether it be masculinity. And I don't know if it's having divorced parents, like not having a singular unit of a thing. So like, it's hard for me to understand how someone would feel, because I think they see it as a threat to masculinity, their club, their group. And I'm like, that's not our group. I hate most of these.
Oh, bitches. You're also, I forgot, you're in the presence of a dangerous anti-Semite.
I am.
Number two.
I got my Zohran bag right here.
Number two anti-Semite of last year. Number one was Candace Owens,
who just featured one of my shows.
Wait, really?
Someone texted me, he said, Candace Jones watched one of your jokes, and I was like, I know exactly which joke it is. It was it's awful to explain. It will be, but it ultimately is a Holocaust joke at the end of the day. And it's a good one. I'm proud of. and the worst Holocaust jokes I've ever heard have been from rabbis. In my experience, they got the best ones. But she featured it.
Does it feel weird when you're like, you shouldn't be laughing at this? Maybe you're laughing at this a little too much.
Yeah, but what am I gonna do? I don't think that moved the needle.
I gotta see the chat. Send me the clip, Jamie. My Jamie is my chat.
I'll look up if you look up
Jamie, send me the clip.
My name and Candace Owens. I shared it in some YouTube video.
All right.
But God, she's laughing.
Oh, she laughed extra hard, huh?
Oh, she laughed extra. And it looked like she was like no laughter. No, this one doesn't show the actual one. If you go on YouTube, it's the horizontal one.
This is again not the original one.
Go to that.
This is the Patreon.
Yeah, that's the Patreon of the YouTube. Okay. Yeah. There's a YouTube excerpt, and we play the whole thing in there.
Okay, everyone is sending the same fucking clip now.
It's the horizontal.
My Jamie is so busted. My Jamie is the most busted
What's
Jamie.
What's the Jamie?
Like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's Jamie.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so go a little forward here.
We didn't record, Russell. Ready? Let's go for it again.
Keep going until we cut to it in full. Here it comes. Keep going.
I was like, that's not Candace Owens.
That's Paige. That's my producer, Paige. Okay, there it is.
Soresi.
I celebrated most of the major Jewish holidays growing up. Passover was my favorite because you get to read it at the table, and then that's the story where the Jews, we were enslaved by the Pharaoh, and then Moses made the plagues happen, and then we escaped, and we crossed the desert for 40 years. I liked it because it made Jews seem cool, but that was also kind of confusing because I was like, okay, how did we go from crossing the desert to now being known as generally frail? And I didn't know. I didn't understand until one day I went on vacation to Miami with my very Jewish girlfriend. And the moment we got to the beach, she was like, it's like a desert out here. And I was like, oh my God. What if Jews have been exaggerating this entire fucking time? We got stuck in traffic on the way there. My girlfriend was like, let my people go. The beach was a little crowded. She said, there's like 6 million people here.
The beauty of comedy.
Beauty of comedy.
Yeah,
you got it. I've given up on the idea that comedy is good or bad.
It
so
just
that I don't
is.
have to take responsibility. Entertainment,
that.
and sometimes entertainment is just to pass the time.
I like that.
And I think if they follow my work, I like to think it's positive overall. That singular joke, yeah. What am I gonna do?
Let's talk about that actually. So one of the things I am a comedy appreciator, comedy enjoyer. I am not that funny myself, or at least I try to be when I'm talking about political matters. But
You're funny on Schultz's podcast.
I can't do. Oh, thank you. That's not that hard. It's Andrew Schultz. It's like it's not that hard to be the funniest guy in that room. Okay. Yeah, I can say that. Fuck you, Andrew. Suck my dick. You were making fun of me saying I'm a dog abuser. Okay.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, and like one of the little like quippy joke things.
Yeah, they were doing it. Oh, Mister. Oh, I don't know how we got Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He duped me at my age of 40.
Yeah, it was frustrating. It was frustrating.
No,
You could have asked him about Epstein right then and there to his face.
Yeah. But having said that, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but I've always been a comedy appreciator, comedy enjoyer. I mean, so much so that I even forced myself back in the day to watch Kill Tony.
Sure.
Yeah, which I think is still to this day, I think is like a phenomenal format, only destroyed by Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
Like
with the older episodes were I was told they were good. I've been told. I see clips now and then and I go, oh, that's a funny moment.
Yeah, I mean the format itself is great because you have like actual comedy greats, like having new stand-ups test out like their first 60 seconds that they've ever put together, and it's just like I really like the format itself. But anyway,
and it's a big blessing. They have a lot of disabled comics who I don't know other avenues that the world has opened up for them to get public attention, and it is that mixed blessing of a thing. I look at the pros, but I think it's gotten so. I've seen some of those Netflix ones, and it just looks like where they try to get everyone famous all at once. Yeah, and it becomes over bloated, and no one's actually being mean anymore. Like I honestly think like Israel stuff like entered the edgelord community, and they didn't really know what to do with it because they love anti-Semitic jokes, but the woke version of them was for Palestine, and so there really was like they don't know how to be offensive around anything that didn't involve saying a word you're not supposed to say. Yeah,
and also like they can't, like it requires them to recognize the humanity of the Palestinian side, and I feel like it's this weird situation where they're like, well, I hate Jews, but I also hate Muslims, and they're also scary. So like, how do I make this work where I can shit on both of the groups that are associated in this conflict? But the reason why I brought all that up, talking about my background, is because like it's one of the things that I try to explain to people all the time is that like with comics, like I think a lot of people don't understand how jokes are structured and how they have to be tested out in front of an audience.
Sure. And
for that reason, a lot of people, especially in the age of like, internet TikTok clips, and even before that, like podcasts and whatnot, I think people decided like if a comedian is testing out a bit and it fails, which is the worst thing that could possibly happen, they take that as a sincerely held belief of the comedian in many instances.
Yeah.
Whereas like in some circumstances, it's just a person trying to make a joke and failing to do so.
Yeah. The context is tough, but ultimately we put these clips out ourselves sometimes, so it's kind of on us.
Yeah.
But like when you're in a comedy club space, a lot more feels like, you know how they go like, I was just joking. In the room called the comedy chuckle fuck place, it's like, yeah, that's clear. It's behind you. You had 30 minutes of jokes, and then out of context, it can feel like out of context with Candace Owens, and they're projecting it on, and there's a Nazi rally and everyone's laughing.
Yeah, this is my bid to defend Kramer. He was just attempting.
Yeah.
He's just bombing.
But Chappelle, do you ever see Chappelle's set talking about it? Where he just said he's like watching it, and part of it was like, he's just having a bad set. Yeah. It's like he's just having a bad set. He thought there was a moment in his coked up brain in that moment that he was like, this is going to crush. This is how I'm going to, and it just like backfired, and some comedians said something backfires and they doubled out. I don't think, it was not good that he went there. Questionable.
Have you ever seen the Seinfeld apology? For,
it's the greatest thing ever. It reminds me.
We got to pull this up.
Play it. It reminds me of the guy who did Candid Camera way back in the day. He was on a plane that got hijacked. True story. He was on a plane that got hijacked. Everyone on the plane, they saw the host of this prank show, thought it was a prank.
Yeah.
And he said when they landed and the hijackers took them off the plane one by one, they looked at him like, fuck you. They were mad at him.
Yeah.
Even though he was just a passenger. But this is amazing.
This is some of the funniest. This is probably Seinfeld's best material in general.
Yeah, especially in the last last decade or so. Yeah.
This Michael Richards thing. Well, now I don't know him well. I've known him a long time, but I don't know him well. And I can remember years and years ago at the Comedy Store.
And for the Zoomers in the chat, Kramer on Seinfeld, Michael Richards, bombed at the Laugh Factory. And in the process of bombing, he just started screaming the N-word with a hard R.
He said it was specific to like a group that he was accusing of, heckling or talking.
Him,
and then he just went after them.
He
and
just
then he said,
kept saying
and then it wasn't just that. I mean, he was pissed off.
No.
He said something about like back in the day you'd be upside down with a fork in your ass. Like it was unhinged.
Yeah.
And it went on for a long long time.
Like nowadays, if you have clips like that, you could probably work for the Defense Department or something. But like
he'd be on Kill Tony the next day.
Yeah, but back then it was like when woke was still a thing.
This is pre-woke. This was like
pre-woke, actually.
Whoa, you cannot do that.
Yeah, this is like pre-civil rights struggle era.
Yeah.
Attitudes being put on Maine.
And so it was crazy. Honestly, this was also before things went viral. This was before people had Twitch streams to pull from to make 35 videos.
Yeah,
like this, everyone saw this. Your mom saw it. Your grandma saw it somehow because we all love Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And then this was the one shot. This is also a time when he went on the Late Show, it's like, okay, everyone's watching this moment. This is your moment to make things okay.
Yeah, J.D. Vance would have said he's just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
J.D. Vance has been like, he's just a 30-year-old baby. He's just a 30-year-old kid. I think we shouldn't do cancel culture on Michael Richards. But
he would have taken a right wing turn at this day and age.
He would get on stage, and he was always a very dynamic performer. Dynamic to the point that often audiences were frightened.
Always pushing boundaries.
But still, we all got a kick out of it because it was in good fun, and he was and is a very funny guy. And then we see this thing today where he goes nuts in some kind of club and is screaming at people. Have you talked to him? Do you know anything about this?
I did talk to him. I talked to him today. And, I was extremely upset about it, and he is extremely upset about it. And I asked him if he would come on the show tonight so that he could explain what happened, because it was just one of those awful things. Right. And I think he's a little mystified about what happened, but I think most importantly he wanted to...
we have him live via satellite.
Yes, I don't know how many M words he dropped with a hard R, but like... It was mystifying to string them along that many times.
Yeah, he was just
like
losing
Olympic,
it. And
Olympic level.
He really said that he was like, oh, you're offended? He started going, he was like, words, these words. You have to watch these words. And
we can't. I don't think we can watch it.
Of course not. But I think the biggest mistake to seek the authentic apology was to pick the worst actor from Seinfeld to come on stage and then also not be in person was a disastrous mistake.
I think you're wrong. It made for
For
phenomenal
entertainment value?
television. And you shall
Michael
see,
Richards.
Shatters.
Michael, are you
This is
there?
Old Lord.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hi, Michael. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hi.
How you doing?
I'm not doing too good.
Yeah. Why don't you explain exactly what happened for the folks who may not know?
I think, is he in the green room?
He could be. Maybe he was
It
in the green
looks
room.
like
He's like, I
he's in
can't
the
go
green
out
room.
there. It's all wrong. Letterman's like the wrong format to do it. It's too like kind of sappy. It's oh man. Now just so everyone knows, this was a long time ago. I don't know what he's been doing since, but he's like written a book. I think he's back on a book tour now. And you better not heckle him.
Bro, this moment was so viral. They had a fucking Gallup poll on it, gauging the impact of the Michael Richards incident.
Oh, it's huge. It was a cultural.
Wow.
I reference it on stage, and there's so few things you can reference on stage that everyone knows. Everyone knows this.
It's just like, it's funny because like I don't think the Gen Alpha or Zoomers know this. Like I don't think they know this at all, but maybe.
God.
I lost my temper on stage. I was at a comedy club trying to do my act, and I got heckled, and I took it badly and went into a rage, and
People are
Yeah.
said some pretty nasty things to some Afro-Americans. A lot of
Brutal. Brutal.
This is Afro-Americans. That's so fucking
That's how you know he had no black friends to like, hey, can I get some advice about how I craft this apology?
I said some brutal things to some Afro-Americans.
trash talk, and
Stop laughing. It's not fun.
I mean, truly. I mean, if there's anything that encapsulates like the contradiction of comedy and the trap of the comedian, it's Jerry Seinfeld on a couch saying, "Stop laughing."
Yeah, stop laughing.
And
It's not funny.
What were you were actually being heckled, or were they just talking and disturbing the act?
that was going on too.
Letterman trying to give us some points. Did they deserve it, Kramer?
And did you?
I know. I mean, hearing your audience laugh, you know, and it's. I'm not even sure that this is where I should be
Yes.
addressing
they're so
the
used to-
situation. I've already heard you make some jokes about it, and that's okay, you know. But I'm really busted up over this, and I'm very, very sorry to those people in the audience. The blacks, the Hispanics, the whites, everyone that was there that took the brunt of that anger and hate and rage and how it came through, and I'm concerned about more hate and more rage and more anger coming through, not just towards me, but towards a black-white conflict. There's a great deal of disturbance in this country and how blacks feel about what happened in Katrina. And you know,
brother.
many of the comics,
Man,
many
I
performers
forgot how long
are
this
in
went.
Las Vegas and New Orleans trying to raise money for what happened there. And
God.
for this to happen, for me to be in a comedy club and flip out and say this crap, you know, I'm deeply, deeply sorry. And I'll get to the force field of this hostility, why it's there, why the rage is in any of us, why the trash takes place, whether or not it's between me and a couple of hecklers in the audience or between this country and another nation.
But
the
Michael,
rage.
let me interrupt here for a second and ask.
And what
He's
Israel
like,
is
we
doing
must-
in Palestine is
he's like-
inexcusable.
He's like, we must end American militarism around the globe.
It is so like, let's if I were to say benefit of the doubt, he was trying to be like offensive and shocking and fucked it up. If we're giving that benefit of the doubt, it's like you go, first of all, you donate a shitload of money. We all know you're rich, so give some money. Always helps grease the wheels. You write something. You don't do this because you don't actually look sad. You look like, and I'm sure he was fucked up over it.
Yeah,
but he's
mad.
pushing. You can see that he's pushing.
Yeah.
He has a temper. He should have said, "I was coked out of my fucking mind. I'm not good at stand up. I'm more of a sketch actor." And people would have been like, "Yeah, he's just not good at stand up." It's the worst. It truly is the worst. And this was before all the like classic apologies. This should be studied in like entertainment history class.
Yeah.
Because everything he's doing is wrong. Jerry's wrong. Letterman's wrong. And
Yeah. the format is completely busted for this because it's like
it's a comedy show.
It's a comedy
but
show.
This is also, I think this is the thing comedians make the mistake. Like Jerry thought, like people like me, I can bring them into a sincere moment. It's like, no, comedy, sometimes it only has a power to make people laugh. You're like a chess piece. So you can only do that. You can't then make things serious. You don't get to use that credit and have people take you seriously. That's the limitations of your fame, of your talent, and your abilities. That's how I feel with the comedians engaging sometimes with politicians on their podcast, for example. I go, all you can do is make this guy look funny and good. You can't then, after the fact, hurt him.
Yeah, I guess like the George Carlin of it all is like the inverse of that to some degree.
You can use it, but also like he had to gain everyone's goodwill with comedy. And eventually he overspent his hand. If you watch Lake Carlin, he's so fucking mad.
Wait, yeah.
There was one tour he didn't release it because it was like right after 9/11 or before 9/11, but he was just so mad that the audience was like, Jesus Christ, what is this?
I'd rather have that kind of rage than being mad at fucking cancel culture, which I think is which I think has delivered the like a definite era of dead comedy. Like there's this period,
sure, but you deal with it in your own respect.
We're kind of still in it to a certain degree as well, where I think it's just like it's hack material.
Yeah.
And it's like everything becomes that. Everything becomes like, oh, people don't like my jokes. Like, okay, make better jokes then. Even fucking Seinfeld himself at a certain point came to that recognition where he was like, you know what? I want to go back on a thing that I had said previously about cancel culture.
There's some new things I'd like him to go back on. But I think also what happens with the internet, what's so unique is like my fan base is now extremely left-leaning. And the inverse of that is true for these other guys. And there's a way where we are formed by the people laughing at us. And we might have perspective, but it's molded. And gradually you just get more and more extreme. So now our audiences, which are cultivated because of algorithms, are influencing our own output. And that's I think how some people who get like, it's a little edgy and maybe it's funny, and then before they know it, they go into a regular room and suddenly you're Tony Hinchcliffe and you think that Puerto Rico joke is gonna like kill.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're confused.
Yeah.
You're shocked. Not only that it's not funny, but that people are like, what the fuck was that? And it's because you didn't perform for regular people in a long time.
But also I think it's a telltale sign that you're not a very good comedian.
Sure.
If you can't make something like that work. Because like an example I use is always like, I guess I call it like the Nick Mullen equation, where if you're going to do an accent of a like historically occupied country's people, it has to be really good. Because if it's really
I love
good,
there's like comedy equals tragedy plus time. Also, if you're going to do the accent of historically marginalized people,
I am autistically describing this concept.
No, it's true.
But like, obviously, this is not like a exact equation.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is like it comes from understanding that culture, understanding like if you're good at the accent, it means like you've obviously been around people who have this accent, and if you do it poorly, then it's racist. If you do it really well,
for sure. But I will only counter with that, like comedy takes in context of the culture you're in. So like, you know, it's let's say you do a really good Chinese accent, but there was a time where it was like every comedian everywhere all the time, that's the joke that they go to. Yeah. And then it's like you have to look at it and go, oh, is this hack? Because right now everyone's doing it. Yeah. And I think like that also happens where some comedians go like, why can't I say this? And it's like, well, because you're saying it, their dad is saying it at home, their shitty conservative cousin is saying it, and so it's hack because too many people are doing it.
Yeah, the example I used was with Dave Chappelle, who I had great respect for in his in his entire career until like he took this right wing turn on trans issues, and like. I bring up from one of his specials where he talks about beyond pussy, like when talking about like transgender pussy, basically. Yeah. Beyond meat. And that's funny, but it's sandwiched in between. Like that in and of itself is a funny joke. That's a funny joke about trans people. Yeah. That doesn't punch down at trans people.
Sure.
But it's sandwiched between him being like, I'm a TERF. And trans women are just men wearing dresses and they're weird and gross. Like, that's not a joke. You're just like angry. You're too angry to make a joke.
I also think what happened though with some of those, I mean, we're talking super famous, super rich, is that they are in like very progressive Hollywood circles. And so what is punching up, and I don't think in those terms, but what is like being transgressive in those circles in the greater country is just supporting hatred towards persecuted groups.
Yeah, among Hollywood lives that might come across as like, ooh, transgressive, but like,
so even though they kind of like they resent this community, that's who it is that's informed their view of like what is speaking truth to power. And then their guy becomes fucking president, and I'm like, that's how they wake up and they go, oh shit. I guess it
turns out there's impact to the haha jokes. That's what's so. Oh man, I can't stand motherfuckers who are like, I voted for Trump because cancel culture was getting out of hand. I wanted to say the R word, and it's like, bro.
I think that when those guys say those, I want to say the R word. I'm like, yeah, that's what the group chat is for. Yeah, that's what your friends are for. Yeah. I think what happened, I think is like COVID, where I think people didn't have friends. They got lonely. We all have friends. We all have group chats where we say fucked up things. If you don't have that group chat, if you are lonely, the internet becomes your group chat. It's like if you're in a house with no bathroom, you're gonna shit at the dinner table. You need like a place to be edgy, to be dark. And when people get lonely, they go, "You don't let me speak. You don't let me speak."
For the young Republicans in New York, it was their Telegram group.
It was. It turns out. And they should have done it outside the political circles. That's their job.
Yeah. Well, that's a mixture of business and pleasure, I feel like.
Yeah. Their business is for them, pleasure. Their pleasure is their business.
Yeah, for them, that's like, I thought we could say these things because we're doing those things. The Hitler stuff.
Yeah. You can't, again, if you choose to engage in making powerful decisions, you're going to be more scrutinized. That fucking Spider-Man quote always comes to my brain. I'm like, God.
With great power comes great responsibility. It's a banger.
True. What are you going to say?
It's a banger. It's the best.
Do not kill thy neighbor. I mean, these all, some of these, they hold up.
By the way, in 6 minutes, we are going to be watching our boy Zohran Kwame Mamdani go on stage.
And we're going to take a shot every time Israel's brought up.
Will die very soon, very quickly. But I do think, I know for a fact almost, that I will be brought up in tonight's debate.
You think so?
As a line of attack. Have you seen the Andrew Cuomo press conference that he did on 9/11?
Oh, yeah. That quote, that's going to be on your tombstone, brother.
He's going to bring it up, I think, to be like.
You really think so?
Oh, 100%. He's so desperate. He has nothing.
I was hoping after I hosted the rally, they'd replace that with my 6 million people joke.
Yeah, but you're Jewish.
I know. Don't I know it?
So
don't I know it? I got that call. I said, okay,
so
I'll be there.
For that, you get protective cover.
That's true.
A Muslim,
sure.
Yeah. Like we don't.
And has he responded to that particular?
Someone ambushed him before on like one of those like right wing guys was like, Zohran, why are you associating with famous content creator who said America deserved 9/11?
I think he just needs to flip the script. Be like, I never heard of that. I'm a fan of Hasan's dog abuse. That's what I'm in it for.
Yeah, I learned new things in this last saga. I didn't know that like there was a stereotype about Muslims that like they don't like dogs, like in general. Yeah. I didn't realize that like so many people. Before they were like, of course he's abusing his dog. He's Muslim. This is how Mohammedan are. And I was like, damn, I know like my grandparents don't understand why I sleep in the bed with my dog because they're like, dog is supposed to be, herding the sheep outside, not inside.
Yeah.
You are going to get diseases from your dog by letting your dog lick you in the face. But like,
I imagine they would do that with any group, though. I mean, especially any group that's ever been persecuted. I mean, that's why these cops, they got dogs. They got dogs.
I mean, they imagine they kill 10,000 a year, by the way, which is crazy.
Yeah. So what would you say if you're Zohran and they bring that up, and you don't want to just throw your friend Hasan under the bus? What's the answer that makes
it's not even like throwing your friend Hasan under the bus. It's more so that like. everything that they can say about me to him, they can low-key kind of say about him as well. So he's like doubly cooked in that situation because like 34-year-old Muslim socialist, anti-Zionist is like a lot of people that look at a lot of people that want to like criticize Zohran on those virtues can attack me, and then it's almost like attacking him in the same vein. So it's a tricky situation for him to just like cast me aside and be like, I don't know this guy.
Yeah. I think they're going to bring up that Hamas Fox question. That's the thing that I think they're going to lean on the most, because that seems to be going viral right now on Twitter.
That's definitely something that they're gonna push as well on him. But I think like the best possible thing to do is what he did in the past, which was when he was asked that question, he was like very cynical that my opposition here is desperately trying to associate like his Muslim opponent with 9/11. Like it's pretty obvious what he's doing here, which is true. Like that's what he's trying to do.
Of course, it's all racist. I mean, he's really good at navigating those questions.
Yeah,
I mean, truly in a way that, my God, that video of Gavin Newsom the other day, interesting. That's interesting. You go, you didn't even prepare of how you're going to answer this shit. Just bad politicians.
Yeah, but it's also, he's just so good at just being issue specific and immediately whenever people bring up any sort of like random shit, he's so good at judoing his way out of it. And then bringing it back to like fast and free buses, rent freeze, like the big five, you know what I mean? Increasing taxes for the super wealthy. Like, and the opposition looks silly and juvenile when you're like, I want fast and free buses for every New Yorker. We can make this happen. And then they're like, but what about trans people? And you're like,
but that's the thing with Israel. Ridiculous. It's great. It's insane that the mayor of New York is answering all these questions about Israel and Hamas. Honestly, I think one of the reasons I was like, the thing about Zohran that I do think I enjoy is the fact that he can't be president, at least. And I go, okay, good. Then he's never gonna have to decide some of this shit. And the fact that we're asking him about what Hamas should do.
Yeah,
insanity.
I don't think it's necessarily like a bad thing for him to. I mean, obviously, it was good that he took a strong stance, especially in the primaries on this stuff, because like, plus he has like a decade of open anti-Zionist activism.
Of course.
So it's like, it's very difficult for him to turn around and be like, actually, now that I got a crumb of clout, I love Israel. Israel's pretty good, actually.
Why don't they ask Cuomo, say like, how long do you think, Cuomo, you've been accused of sexual assault. Do you think Woody Allen should be allowed to make movies anymore? It's just insane. These things have nothing to do with the matter at hand.
They would obviously never do that anyway. But
I'd love that though.
But yeah,
Cuomo, here's what do you think of, what was that, Mario Vitali? What do you think of Mario Vitali? There's another Italian that made some women uncomfortable. What do you think we should do with him?
So this is what I said. An important lesson for Dems from this hostile interview on Fox is that if you focus on affordability and expanding existing government programs like public transit, left populism, your opposition will look unserious when they try to drive the conversation back to culture war narratives. Like, it's not even wrong for him to have a statement on, this link is bricked, it's not working. It's not wrong for him to have a statement on like Israel, Palestine or whatever. It's just that the constant hammering of like, why won't you go to Tel Aviv? Like, that literally worked in his favor. That worked in his favor so perfectly, because it made people go, why are they fucking asking this dude constantly about Israel? Like, he's running for mayor of New York. Anyway, the new poll shows Zohran up 52% with a +5, and Andrew Cuomo at 28%. Lost 1 percentage point, and Curtis Sliwa coming in hot at 14%.
There's no universe where you could see Curtis dropping out, do you?
No.
Do people ever drop out this close?
Well, it doesn't even matter, because even for example, obviously, Eric Adams dropped out, but Eric Adams is still on the ballot.
Yeah.
So, like, the names have been printed already. So even if they drop at this point, like, sure, you'll pick up some of their followers, but there's going to be plenty of people who will vote for Eric
just
Adams.
Randomly, just looking at this going to AB, eeny, miny, mo.
Oh, for sure. Is this the live Okay, here's the
And
live
Telemundo 47 anchor Rosarena Breton. This is a 2-hour debate live on all NBC New York and Telemundo 47 streaming
Do we have a
and
YouTube?
digital platforms. Politico.com.
Chad, do we have a YouTube link?
And YouTube.
Oh, Curtis not wearing the
first
hat.
hour is
No,
also
he took the
live on
beret
Channel
off.
4 and
Curtis.
Telemundo 47.
He doesn't even look like
Your
him.
question and answer.
He looks
You'll have
naked.
1 minute to respond, and we'll offer 30-second rebuttals at the moderator's discretion.
Ooh,
We'll
sure.
also be asking questions where we will
Hell
be
yeah.
looking for
We got
shorter
the
answers.
Zohran.
We also
Zohran
reserve
bingo,
the right
Chad.
to cut off your microphone if you ignore
All
the
right.
rules. But candidates, you know we don't want to do that. The goal is for you to hear each
Yeah, I
other
thought Zohran's
and for New
answer
Yorkers
about,
to hear everything
the NYPD
you
has
have
been
to
really
say. Good luck.
smart.
We'll begin with Melissa
By the
Russo.
way, we're speaking.
Thank you,
I guess
David,
when I'm
and good
speaking
evening,
here, I'm thinking
gentlemen.
about
Thank you for being here.
winning.
We begin tonight by asking you to do what every mayor dreams of, and that is to write your own headlines. Imagine it's January 2027, and you have been in office for exactly
Sharia
1
law
year.
implemented
We would
in
like
New
you to
York.
quickly give us one headline about what you think your biggest accomplishment will have been in year number 1. We'll begin with you, Mr.
Global jihad.
First, thank you very much for sponsoring the debate and having all of us. The one headline, how many characters in the headline?
Oh my God.
You're familiar with headline length.
Rent down, comma, crime down, comma, education score, comma, more jobs in New York City.
branded.
Getting maybe a little under the average headline
He's
length,
lost
but
it. I mean, he never had it, but he's
Optimism
lost
Thank
whatever
you.
he had.
Mr.
Yeah,
Sliwa.
of course.
Curtis Sliwa is without his iconic red
He's got a
beret
beret tan line.
because I'm talking to the people of New York City about the really serious issues of affordability, the cost of living, and obviously what I've spent most of my life doing,
Let them introduce
which is
themselves. I hate
public
this
safety
weird-
in the
Well,
streets and the subways.
We would love a headline from you. What will your headline be, your big headline in year number 1 as mayor?
Zohran's going to nail it.
Curtis Sliwa exceeds all expectations and looks very mayoral tonight.
Mr. Mamdani, you've had some
bad.
time to think about it now.
Bad
What's your
answer.
headline?
It's a pleasure to be here, first of all, and I really want to thank the moderators and the opportunity to speak directly to New Yorkers about this moment in time and our opportunity to transform the most expensive city in the United States of America. The headline would read in about a year, Mamdani continues to take on Trump, delivers on affordability agenda for New Yorkers.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Sally?
Thank you, Melissa. We're going to talk about leadership. Voters have reservations about all three of you as chief executive of New York City, a city with roughly 300,000 employees and a budget bigger than many countries. We have questions for each of you, and Mr. Cuomo, we will begin with you. As a former governor of New York, you obviously have the management experience, but you resigned from office amid sexual harassment and COVID-related scandals. Why should voters now trust that you have the character to be mayor? You have 1 minute.
Good. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the question.
Thank you for the question. You
You
called
are
me a
right. I
rapist.
left office. There was a report that was done that had allegations of harassment. I said at the time it was a political report and that there was no basis to it. It was then sent to 5 district attorneys. They all reviewed it. They found nothing. It was then litigated for 5 years. I was dropped from the cases. So none of that came to anything. When it comes to executive experience, I've run the Department of Housing and Urban Development, built housing all across the nation. I was governor for 11 years. The budget is double what it is in New York City, and I got government to work. I passed groundbreaking laws, minimum wage, paid family leave, built projects that had never been built before. This is no job for on-the-job training. And if you look at the failed mayors, they're ones that had no management experience. Don't do it again.
Thank you. Rosarena?
Thank you, Sally. In the theme of leadership, Mr. Mamdani, you work as a foreclosure prevention counselor for winning seat in the State Assembly. You have no substantial management experience. How are you ready to lead the nation's largest and greatest city in the world in one day? You have a minute.
You know, I have the experience of having served in the New York State Assembly for 5 years and watching a broken political system, the experience of seeing a governor in Andrew Cuomo who would rather have served his billionaire donors and the working class New Yorkers who voted for him, and the experience amidst all of that of fighting and winning for working class taxi drivers to free them from predatory debt and delivering the first free bus lines in New York City history, and in working with unions and working class New Yorkers to finally raise taxes just that little bit on Mr. Cuomo's donors to start to fully fund our public school. And more than that, I have the experience of being a New Yorker, someone who has actually paid rent in the city before I ran for mayor, someone who has had to wait for a bus that never came, someone who actually buys his groceries in this same city. And what all of that experience has shown me, which Mr. Cuomo can't seem to understand, is that it is far too expensive and far too hard for New Yorkers to afford to live in this city. And the definition of experience is not doing the same thing again and again and hoping for a different result. That's actually the definition of insanity.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
If I can, I think I was going to go. In other words, what the Assemblyman said is he has no experience. And this is not a job for someone who has no management experience to run 300,000 people, no financial experience to run $115 billion budget. He literally has never had a job. On his resume, it says he interned for his mother.
Neither did he.
This
He's
is
just
not
the
a
son
job
of a famous
for
New
a
York
first-timer.
politician. What the
Any
fuck?
day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic.
You can't even hit him on the Nepo
line.
line.
If you don't know what you're doing, people will die.
Mr. Mamdani, want to respond?
And if we have a health pandemic, then why would New Yorkers turn back to the governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes?
Dude.
That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for.
Oh, he dropped 9/11.
God damn.
First, what you said was totally false, as you know.
Which part was false?
Poor Curtis.
During
No
COVID,
one's going to bring him up
everyone
today.
did whatever they could in this state. And there have been numerous investigations where they've gone through it, and they said we followed federal guidance. But yes, people died during COVID, and my heart breaks for everyone that that died in this state
R.I.P.
and across this nation.
But just to be clear, just to fact check that, there is a criminal investigation reportedly underway at the DOJ about your testimony to Congress.
Trump told me he'll drop it.
Yeah, that is a political issue with the Congress. They made a referral, which has gone absolutely nowhere. But there have been multiple investigations where the DOJ found that the nursing home investigation was politically motivated.
Okay, we're going to move on. We might have time to come back to it. I do need to move on to Mr.
May
Sliwa.
I just finish my rebuttal? But the Assemblyman still says he has no experience to do the job.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr.
Unlike
Sliwa,
me,
as
I've
founder of
killed
the Guardian
so many
Angels and
grandparents.
as a radio host, you've been a well-known figure in New York City for decades.
He has no job
But
experience
you
other than beating
also
up
lack
minorities.
substantial management experience.
What's his background?
So how are you prepared to be the chief
He's a cat
executive
owner and a guardian
officer
angel.
of New York City? You have 1 minute, Mr. Sliwa.
God.
First of all, I created the Guardian Angels to provide public safety in the subways and streets
tasked with
when
beating up
government
black
was
and brown
incapable
people.
of doing so. I didn't do it to get a title or a paycheck.
I did it for the love of the game.
I don't declare myself to be all-knowing. I will hire the very brightest and best in their fields who have dedicated their lives to trying to improve the city of New York or the state or the federal government or the private sector. But what I will say is, thank God I'm not a professional politician. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of no cash bail, which has been a disaster. We have the architect and the apprentice here of Raise the Age. My own son was almost killed because of that in a gang attack. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of Close Rikers Island, which would just release criminals in the street. Thank God I'm not a professional politician because they have helped create this crime crisis in the city that we face. And I will
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
Which will negate
Mr.
Cuomo's.
Sliwa. Candidates,
He's
President
cooking.
Trump has expressed intense interest in this election and in all of you personally. Mr. Mamdani, the president called you, quote, my little communist. Mr. Sliwa, he said you're, quote, not exactly prime time. And Mr. Cuomo, he has been critical of you, but said you have always gotten along. The president has threatened to cut federal funds to the city. And just yesterday, he killed the Gateway Project, the tunnel connecting New York to New Jersey. You've all promised to resist him in some way. What would you say in your first official call with the president to set the tone for your relationship moving forward? We'll give you a minute for this. We'll start with you, Mr. Mamdani.
I would make it clear to the president that I am willing to not only speak to him, but to work with him if it means delivering on lowering the cost of living for New Yorkers. That's something that he ran his presidential campaign on, and yet all he's been able to deliver thus far has been prosecuting his political enemies and trying to enact the largest deportation program in American history. And what distinguishes me from Andrew Cuomo is the fact that he has gotten on the phone with that same president, not asking him how to work together to help New Yorkers, or not telling him that he would refuse to back down to protect those New Yorkers, but instead asking him how to win this race. That's something I can do myself. I don't need the president's assistance for. And what I'd tell the president is if he ever wants to come for New Yorkers in the way that he has been, he's going to have to get through me as the next mayor of the city.
To be like, here's why people
like
him.
We'll
He's
give
not
you a
doing
little
the
extra
thing.
time,
Let's
but I'd
do
like
the
you to
thing
answer
he
this
said.
question as well, what your first conversation with the president would be like.
Okay. First, I never had a conversation with the president that the Assemblyman was talking about. But he has a distant relationship with the truth. I would say to the president in the first conversation, look, we have had many, many battles. We fought together every day during COVID. And the battles were bloody. And I'd like to avoid them. If you come after New York, you know what I'm going to do. You know it's going to be ugly. And my chances are almost 50-50, even though you're the president. I'd like to work with you. I think we can do good things together. But
great campaign
number
slogan,
one,
50-50
I will fight
chance
you every
of
step of
working
the
out.
way if you try to hurt New York.
Unless he weaponizes the justice system to go after the attorney general of this state, in which case you'll issue a statement that doesn't even name the president. And no matter what you think about Donald Trump, you know that not even being able to name him is an act of cowardice. And that's what we would see from Donald Trump's puppet on the right over here.
I do want to get Mr. Sliwa, but Mr. Cuomo, I'll give you a few seconds to respond to that.
Why are you letting him?
Why
are you letting this Muslim talk over me?
Political weaponization of the justice system is wrong. Both sides do it. It's wrong when Donald Trump does it. It's wrong when they did it to Comey. It's wrong when Comey did it to Hillary. It was wrong when it happened to Tish James.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. I want to give Mr. Sliwa a chance to answer this. Mr. Sliwa, your first official conversation with the president, what would you say to set the tone?
Well, first of all, there's high levels of testosterone in this room. I've had a love-hate relationship with Donald Trump that goes back over 30 years. But I know one thing. We have Andrew Cuomo. We have Zohran Mamdani. They want to take on Donald Trump. Look, you can be tough, but you can't be tough if it's going to cost people desperately needed federal funds. Zohran Mamdani, the president, has already said it's going to take $7 billion out of the budget right from the start if you're elected mayor. People are going to suffer in this city. People who need those federal funds. What I would do is sit and negotiate. I would say, look, Mr. President, we need that Gateway Tunnel. It moves millions of people from Washington, D.C. to Boston. But take away the Q train project. We don't need those 3 stations going from 96th Street to 125th. It's not a necessity. Sit with the president and whoever he delegates and try to negotiate. But if you try to get tough with Trump, the only people who are going to suffer from that are the people of New York City.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa, thank you. Brief response, Mr. Mamdani.
Mr. Trump is already suspending infrastructure grants to this city, and he's doing it in a blatant act of political retribution. And what it requires is leadership that will stand up to him. And I disagree with Mr. Sliwa. We do need to extend the 2nd Avenue subway to 125th Street. It was a promise made to Harlemites decades ago. It's time to actually fulfill it.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Quick question. Quick question for each of you. Mr. Cuomo, you've been asked this before.
He mentioned my name. Don't I get a chance to respond?
Well, we've got a lot of ground to cover, Mr. Sliwa.
When was the last time you spoke with President Trump, Mr. Cuomo? You've been asked this before, and the last time you said you couldn't remember?
I believe it was during his assassination attempt.
So last year in 2024. Mr. Sliwa, when was the last time you spoke with President Trump?
Oh, many years ago, we were receiving awards. I was praising him for saving the annual Veterans Day Parade. Those were the conversations that I had with him. Can I please respond? I was asked about the Q train.
Okay, real quick.
Mamdani?
I am the mayor of mass transit. We do not need a Q train. I'm in the subways every day. We have more than a capable system of transporting people.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
The infrastructure needs to be fixed in the system that we have.
Mr. Mamdani, have you ever spoken with
No more
President
mass
Trump?
transit.
No more trains.
Okay.
No more
There
trains.
you
We
go.
got too much
Sally,
mass transit.
Thank you.
Too many
Mr. Cuomo,
minorities
follow-up
walking
to that.
around.
President Trump has spoken positively about you and your candidacy.
His crew can't
even as
monitor
his
that
Justice
length,
Department,
right?
as we've noted, is reportedly investigating you for allegations you lied to Congress over your COVID record. Given that dynamic, How would you be able to stand up to this White House? How are you not compromised? And just take into account that New Yorkers are troubled by what they view as a compromised relationship the current outgoing mayor has with the president.
Yeah. First, you're wrong when you say there's any investigation
You're wrong.
of me. That's not true.
And I'm not saying that because you're a woman and I hate
absolutely
them.
nothing. Congress did a press release. They said they sent a letter to the Department of Justice, which they do routinely to generate press, and that's what that is. I fought Donald Trump. He investigated me repeatedly with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice Inspector General said that it was actually politically motivated. That does not back me up. When I'm fighting for New York, I am not going to stop. And I'll tell you something else. If the Assemblyman is elected mayor, Donald Trump will take over New York City, and it will be Mayor Trump who runs New York City.
We have to move on. Just a very quick follow-up, yes or no. You're saying unequivocally the Justice Department is not investigating you, correct?
I've heard absolutely nothing.
They could be, and you might not have heard it. But OK, we'll move on. David?
OK. Thanks, Sally.
That is virtually impossible, by the way.
OK.
So, Mr. Cuomo, you did put out an ad the day after the news first broke in the New York Times that you were under investigation, calling it a political investigation, saying they were coming after you as they had to, after other Democratic politicians.
It's cool that he's just debating the moderators now.
Republican Congress was. Yes, I believe they play politics with the justice system. Okay. I believe the Republican Congress does it. I believe Donald Trump does it. I believe the Democrats do it. And that's why I think people are sick and tired of the justice system and the politics.
If you think that there's no difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, then that's the candidate for you. If you think it's time to have a Democratic Party that actually stands up to Donald Trump and his billionaire-backed assault on working people.
Well, first
thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
It doesn't work, Chad.
not a Democrat.
Doesn't work.
You're not a Democrat. You're a Democratic socialist.
We have
you didn't vote for Kamala Harris, right?
We have other ground to cover. We have other ground to cover.
That's an incendiary charge. I want to be very.
You may have a chance to address it, but we do.
I'll be very quick.
We have a lot of issues to get to with New Yorkers, Mr. Mamdani.
I'll be very quick.
You didn't say leave it blank in the Kamala
I'll be very
campaign?
quick. I said leave it blank in the presidential primary because primaries are a place to air dissent. And like many Americans, I was horrified by the Israeli genocide of Palestinians. And if you want to look for me on the ballot, you'll find me as the Democrat.
Mr. Mamdani, thank you. Gentlemen, we have to move on. This week, the world is reacting to President Trump's Israel-Hamas peace deal and the release of the hostages.
Would you glaze Trump?
Many are cautiously
Would
optimistic
you give Trump credit?
about a lasting peace.
I hate this shit.
Of course, the mayor has no direct role in foreign affairs.
Great bar
we
from
certainly have a lot
Zohran.
of questions for you about city matters.
Talk about credit.
This war has been a major topic in the campaign. And there are criticisms about your positions in the past and how you envision leading on these issues.
That's how I feel when there's credit.
So we have questions for all of you, but first for Mr. Mamdani, because something you said that's been generating headlines in the news today as we come into the debate. Yesterday on Fox News, you were asked if Hamas should lay down its weapons, key to the peace plan and ceasefire. And some say they found your answer confusing. You said, quote, I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas.
It's not.
And
It's
Israel
less confusing.
Beyond the question
It's more
of
confusing
justice,
to ask the
safety,
fucking New York mayor
and the fact
this
that
question.
anything has to abide by international law. And that applies to Hamas.
They're going to do that question.
That
When was the last
applies
time you talked to
the
Hamas?
Israeli military? So for the voters tuning in tonight, Mr. Mamdani, what do you believe about Hamas and how lasting peace will be achieved? We know it's a complicated matter, but we'd like you to keep your answer to a minute if you could.
Of course, I believe that they should lay down their arms. I'm proud to be one of the first elected officials in the state who called for a ceasefire. And calling for a ceasefire means seizing fire. That means all parties have to cease fire and put down their weapons. And the reason that we call for that is not only for the end of the genocide, but also an unimpeded access of humanitarian aid. I, like many New Yorkers, am hopeful that this ceasefire will hold. I'm hopeful that it is durable. I'm hopeful that it is just. And for it to be just, we also have to ensure that it addresses the conditions that preceded this. Conditions like occupation, like the siege, and apartheid. And that is what I'm hopeful for.
Yeah.
What now?
If I may,
Anti-Zohran haters?
From the river
Excuse me.
to the sea.
I'm being marginalized.
Close like this.
It's
is my
a
only
debate
shot.
of three. Excuse me, Andrew. It's a debate of three. Do we
Go
acknowledge
ahead.
that? Three people?
Mr. Sliwa, go ahead, and we'll give you a second. Go ahead, Mr. Sliwa.
Oh, man, Sliwa.
President of the United States should have been applauded by you, Zohran Mamdani, and you, Andrew Cuomo, on the day that he brought together that international coalition that met in Egypt, that came from the Middle East and the Persian Gulf. I certainly applauded him for bringing peace to Gaza and trying to end the hostilities in the war. between the Israelis and Hamas.
Yeah, he took
so
the
there
air
can be
out of Cuomo's
peace
entire
between
thing.
the Israelis and peace between the Palestinians. But you seem, Zohran, to be incapable of praising our
He said,
president. You were incapable of praising our president.
Gentlemen, we have
Give credit where credit is due. He's brought peace to Gaza.
Yeah, gentlemen, we want to hear everything you have to say. We have other questions on the matter. Mr. Cuomo, please, brief response, because we do have other questions on this issue that you may be able to address. Go ahead.
I did applaud President Trump and his administration. I think it was a great accomplishment. I hope the peace holds. The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hasan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The assemblyman just said in his response, well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the sea. That's why he won't denounce globalized intifada, which means kill all Jews.
Let's give Mr. Mamdani a chance to respond to that.
I want to be very clear. The occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team during the course of this genocide. And I find the comments that Hasan made on 9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible. And I also think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and streamers and Americans with whom we agree of every single thing that they say. We need to take the case to every person, and I'm happy to do that, which is why I was on Fox News yesterday talking about how I wish it was more like NASCAR so we could see all the billionaires who are sponsoring you right on your suit jacket.
Melissa has
We're going to turn it to Sally, actually.
Yeah, actually, this kind of flows, and then we'll go back to Melissa. Mr. Mamdani, you told NBC's Meet the Press that you don't believe it's the role of the mayor to police speech. Your words about this war have comforted many New Yorkers, but they've troubled others. And I want to ask about some of this.
And he actually
there
was
is your
pretty nice
recent
about
refusal,
it.
as we just discussed, to condemn the slogan "Globalize the Intifada," which many view as a call to arms.
But this is the real shit.
In 2017, you rapped lyrics praising the Holy Land Five. These are men who were convicted of supporting terrorism.
Focus.
How would you assure New Yorkers, especially Jewish residents who might be concerned about this, that you would be a mayor for all? You have 1 minute to answer this.
Thank you for this opportunity. When I am speaking about the responsibility of leading this city, I mean leading not just those who voted for me, leading not just those who vote, but leading every single person who calls the city home. And that includes Jewish New Yorkers. And I have been so thankful for the opportunity I've had to sit with so many Jewish New Yorkers over the course of the primary and through the general. And it's in those conversations that I learned that this phrase evokes many painful memories. Memories of bus attacks in Haifa, of restaurant attacks in Jerusalem. And I heard from a rabbi about their roommate who was killed on one of those buses. And in hearing that and the distance between that impact and the rationale that some use of saying it, of speaking about the Israeli occupation of Palestinian land, is why I said that I would discourage this language that I do not use. And what I'm looking to do as the first Muslim mayor of this city is to ensure that we bring every New Yorker together. Jewish New Yorkers, Muslim New Yorkers, every single person that calls this city home, that they understand they won't just be protected, but they will belong.
Mr. Sliwa, we will get to you. First, I'm going to ask a question of Mr. Cuomo. While you are a strong supporter of Israel, you have also been slow to develop a relationship with the city's Muslim community.
Thank you, Universal Power user, for this one to get the subs.
A terrorist sympathizer. How do you assure those New Yorkers, especially Muslims and Arabic New Yorkers, that you will be a mayor for all? You'll have 1 minute.
Yeah, well, first, I think the assemblyman created the perception himself. Why wouldn't he condemn Hamas? Why wouldn't he condemn Hasan Piker? Why did it take us here tonight for the first time for him to say it? He still won't denounce globalize the Intifada, which means kill all Jews. Just say, I denounce it. He won't do
older
it.
Jewish
That's
New Yorkers are looking up right now.
His divisiveness is
Can you please answer about your own relationship with the Muslim community? You did not visit mosques for many years. More recently, you have been.
Yeah, I don't think in any way the assemblyman is representative of the Muslim community, which is a vital community in New York City, and I am very fond of, and I've been working with. I think he's playing his own politics. Many of his positions don't even follow the Muslim faith. So I see them as two totally
twice.
separate.
He thinks it's a
Mamdani,
yeah.
You know, it took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except,
you know,
that is totally
one more time, I'm
with the Muslim community for many, many years.
Name a single mosque you went to.
I'm not saying that.
Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
Before you were ever here. They were
Before I was here.
Before you were even in state government. I worked with the Muslim community. Imams presided over State of the States. We worked in religious working groups, tolerance groups, anti-Semitic groups, etc.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Sliwa, Rosarita has a specific question for you, but I'll give you a second
Zohran,
here.
this is what disturbs me about you. You will be celebrating your birthday this weekend. In 1991, I was in the streets of Crown Heights with the Guardian Angels for 30 days and 30 nights when the first Democratic Socialist mayor of New York City, that's right, David Dinkins, was a proud member of the Democratic Socialists of America, abandoned the Jews for 3 days. They were left to their own means. And we protected them for 30 days and 30 nights. Then your favorite mayor, Bill de Blasio, in 2019, abandoned the Jews again when they were being attacked in Williamsburg, in Borough Park, and Crown Heights. And I had to bring the Guardian Angels in for 30 days, 30 nights. Jews don't trust that you are going to be there for them when they are victims of anti-Semitic attacks.
Okay. Brief response, Mr. Mamdani. We have a specific question for you from Rosarita, but Mr. Mamdani, please.
I agree, by the way.
One of the most meaningful experiences I've had over the course of this campaign has been the conversations I've had with Jewish New Yorkers. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about the door that they've had to lock that they had kept open for 40 years. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me on the M57 about an apartment the speech therapist was trying to sell when a realtor told her, put the Jewish books off the table. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about their fear in living in this city, and I will be a mayor who finally addresses that, not through the theatrics of the politics on the stage, but through action. I'll do that by ensuring that we have police officers outside of
the Jewish New Yorkers who feel for some reason Zohran being mayor is going to make them unsafe. They're not being.
There's no Jews who are like on the fence going like, well. Pro-Palestinian protests, and you've suggested that Mr. Mamdani uses languages that is anti-Semitic. How do you assure New Yorkers that you'll be the mayor for all?
Oh, my God, bro. Jesus Christ.
I've been there for all people in all times for 46 years as leader of the Guardian Angels here and around the world. Whether it is a religious violation of people's rights to worship as they choose in a mosque, in a church, in a synagogue, or a shul, whether it's because of racial identity. Remember, in the summer of 2020, Asians were under constant attack because of the lockdown and pandemic. I don't remember Governor Cuomo coming to their aid. You were the governor then. I was out there going into all the neighborhoods, Flushing, Bayside. We were in down in Bensonhurst. We were in Chinatown itself, where Asians were being attacked indiscriminately because they were thought to be carrying COVID. We protected them then. Governor, you were not there for them. De Blasio was not there for them. We understand hate. And in order to counteract hate, you have to get the community involved along with the police to protect people when they're under siege. Jews are under attack now more than ever before. And I don't believe either of you have the capabilities of protecting them with increased anti-Semitism.
That is pure fiction. I passed the no hate in our state, the strongest hate crime law in the United States of America. We tolerate no hatred, no discrimination. We are from every place on this globe, and we are proud of it. And we're tolerant, and we accept. If you notice, the assemblyman still won't say he believes that Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state. He is a divisive personality. all across the board. NYPD are racist.
And he brings it back to
Barack
Israel.
Obama is evil, liar, and he gave the finger to the Christopher Columbus statue.
By the way, your laws with no cash bail turn the haters right back in the street to violate and attack again and again and again.
Thank you.
You're the reason for that. No cash bail.
Thank
You don't know
I just-
what you're talking about.
Thank you. Go ahead.
There have been a number of absolutely unfounded lies that have been said by Andrew Cuomo. I would just like a moment to address them directly. I've said time and again that I recognize Israel's right to exist. I've said that I will not recognize any
As a
state's
Jewish state.
I said that I will not
As a Jewish state.
if I would be allowed to finish, that I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. I have made that very clear. And part of that is because I'm an American who believes in the importance of equal rights being enshrined in every single country, whether we're speaking about Israel or whether we're speaking about Saudi Arabia. You can stand here and you can lie all you want, but New Yorkers know
You answered the question. We don't support Israel.
want to address some issues.
You
All right, and we have another polarizing issue that we would love to discuss with you candidates. And let's talk about the National Guard here in the city of New York. Now let's go back to Mr. President Donald Trump. One threat hanging over the city is the deployment of the National Guard troops, like he has done, as you all know, in other cities. The NYPD commissioner has rejected the idea as unnecessary, but the president ordered troops to hit the streets of New York. Now, how would you respond? Mr. Sliwa, you have a minute.
There's no need for the National Guard in New York. Kathy Hochul, the governor, when we had a crime crisis in the subways that I'm well familiar with, being down there all the time, unlike my two adversaries, she sent 750 National Guardsmen down into the subways in 2024. Remember the horrible case of Debrina Kawan. Does anybody even say her name anymore? That woman who was set on fire by that migrant. As a result of that, the worst crime I've ever seen committed in the subway system, the governor did the right thing. She sent an additional 250 National Guardsmen, giving us a total of 1,000 National Guardsmen in the subway system, while our mayor, Eric Adams, was telling us it was all a perception.
Laura Loomer.
So Governor Hochul has responded.
Oh, wow.
I would
She's been
tell
trying to get me deported
the
nonstop.
President of the United States, since I'm familiar with cities all across America having guardian angels there, if you were going to send the National Guard, you don't need to send them to New York City.
I wasn't wrong.
There are
He
other
did say
cities
the guardian
that
angels
could
got it.
desperately use their help in dealing with their crime crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
We got it.
Mr. Mamdani, how
No
would you
need.
respond?
You know, I
Make
agree
it
with
the
Police
National
Commissioner Tish in that we do not
Guardian
need the National Guard here in New York City. We do not need them for the purpose of safety, because if it was safety that President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country, but he won't, because they're all run by Republicans. What New Yorkers need is a mayor who can stand up to Donald Trump and actually deliver on that safety. When Donald Trump sent ICE agents on people in Los Angeles, Andrew Cuomo said that New Yorkers need not overreact. That is the furthest answer that New Yorkers are looking for. They are looking for someone who will lead, someone who will say that they will have their back, someone who will actually fight for the people of this city. And that's who I am, because I'm not funded by the same donors that gave us Donald Trump's second term, which isn't something that
New York
Andrew
Times
Cuomo
already
can say.
fact-checking
Thank you, Mr.
him.
Mamdani.
Yeah, first, the answer in the subways is not more National Guard. I put the National Guard in the subways also. It's more NYPD is the answer. But the National Guard is not, he's not sending in the National Guard to do any real function. It's control, it's power. Sure. He's trying to say these Democrats don't know how to run these cities, and it's a political gesture by sending in the National Guard. He has said if the assemblyman is elected, he will take over New York. Forget the National Guard.
But this is
he
not
has
the
said,
question.
I'm going
The
to take
question
the
is,
funds.
if they order the troops to come here, what
Yes.
would you do?
Well, I went through this with him. He sent the National Guard to 20 cities when I was governor. You know what city he didn't send them to? New York. Why? Because I said to him, don't you dare, we don't need it, and he backed down, and he will again.
So that proves a good relationship
Wait a
with the
second.
president.
The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive.
Curtis. Get his ass, Curtis.
But let me tell you something.
Get his
you
ass,
lost
Curtis.
your own
Curtis
primary,
low-key
right?
kind of likes
You were
Zohran, by the
rejected
way.
by
Have you
your
noticed that?
Democrats.
Yeah.
And you have a difficulty understanding
we're the same
that
age. You're
what
not
the
a man.
term
You're
no
gonna patrol the
is.
streets
You're
like me.
not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
And I agree with Curtis.
more than
You're
he
not
hates
going to
Zohran.
stand
Absolutely.
up to Donald Trump.
Like, he's like,
And he can't stand
at
up
his
to
heart,
Donald
he's
Trump.
a New
who
Yorker,
knocked him
and so
right
is
on his
Zohran.
top.
Andrew is
When
not.
you negotiate with him, you don't
Okay.
fight with him
Sliwa,
because
thank you.
only the people of New York City will lose.
We
Yeah.
do have a
Stand up
follow-up.
to negotiate.
We have a follow-up.
I'd like to see a show of hands. Are there any circumstances where any of you would allow the NYPD to cooperate with the National Guard if Trump sent them to New York?
9/11.
Show of hands. Yes? No takers. Okay. Moving on. If history is a guide, National Guard troops in the city could trigger protests. And we have questions for each of you about how you would handle that. So, Mr. Sliwa, you have been arrested for protesting migrant housing and for trying to serve Mayor Bill de Blasio with court papers. How would your NYPD handle protests? And would you continue participating in protests as mayor? You have 1 minute.
Well, I have been arrested oftentimes in civil disobedience. That is a great American right. But demonstrations have a time and a place. And it used to be before Bill de Blasio, I know he was your favorite mayor, Zohran, that you'd have to get a permit. There's a time period you were in a structured area. You get a sound permit. It could be turned around in a day. If there was going to be civil disobedience, you discussed it with the police department. And obviously, you had an opportunity of expressing your anger or your outrage at whatever it was that motivated you to sit down in the street, to block traffic or block an egress. Now we have rampaging groups that go running through the streets, that enter all kinds of facilities and violate other people's rights. And there's no one who's willing to stop it. When I'm the mayor, there are rules and regulations. Everybody has the right to demonstrate. But you can't violate other people's rights, or you yourself must be arrested.
He's such a funny dude.
And
he's saying I'm not going to stand up to Trump. I don't want to be but he's saying I'm going to stand up.
Remove those face coverings.
He doesn't care about anything.
Why
he's
are you afraid of identifying who you are as a demonstrator?
Subway trains,
unless maybe you're an agent provocateur who's been sent in here to cause chaos.
Thank you.
You can protest, just not on the
subway. The next question goes to you, Mr. Mamdani. You were arrested for blocking traffic in a pro-Palestinian protest, and you participated in a sit-in at Grand Central. Protesters offered blocked streets, bridges, and hubs like Grand Central. How much of that would you allow as mayor? And what's your line in having the NYPD arrest protesters? You have a minute.
Protest is a part of what makes this city's history what it is. It is a part of the First Amendment. We deserve to have a mayor who stands up for that First Amendment, especially as we have a president that's looking to shred it at each and every opportunity. And we will continue to have protests in this city, as we should, no matter who is the mayor. And the line will be on the question of breaking the law. What we have today, however, is an attempt to intimidate so many who are looking to use that freedom of expression to share their opinions about the city and the world around them. And to be frank with you, what New Yorkers are looking for is someone who can show leadership in City Hall. Because when they don't see that leadership, that's when so many take to the streets. And if you had a leader like Andrew Cuomo, who was telling people not to overreact when they see ICE agents abducting girls as young as 6 years old to deport them, many New Yorkers will take to the streets. We deserve to have a leader who will actually be following through on the values of the city. That's the leader that I'll be.
Mr. Mamdani, just a quick follow-up. If you're elected, would you still participate in protests?
No, if I'm elected, I'll be the mayor, and I'll be leading the city from City Hall.
But no participation in protests, right?
The important thing is to lead from City Hall. That's what I'll be doing.
Okay. Yeah. If I may respond, because I believe my name was invoked.
Yeah. A very brief response, and then I have a question for you.
I dealt with ICE. I stood up with ICE. I had a war with ICE here in New York when I was governor. And I stood them down, and they moved out. What the assemblyman is saying is he doesn't believe in law and order. He believes in defunding the police, disarming the police, disbanding the police. That's who he is. Abolish jails.
Sorry, I have a question for you. Okay, 15 seconds.
Very
quickly.
No, we have to,
and then we do just 15 seconds because we have a question for Mr. Cuomo.
Mr. Cuomo lies again and again and again. I am not running to defund the police. I am running to actually work with the police to deliver public safety. Andrew Cuomo says that he has stood up to ICE. He has not said a word about the abductions that are happening right now.
He's referring to a previous comment you made, and we will get back to this. But Mr. Cuomo, a question for you.
It's a comment he made. Is the operative language.
That. Yes, I understand. I said that. As governor, you put the National Guard on standby during the George Floyd protests. You didn't deploy them. As mayor, talk about how you would balance the right to protest with maintaining order in the streets.
The right to protest is a sacred right. There is no doubt about that. But the law is the law also. And you have New Yorkers now who are afraid in this city. They're afraid of Donald Trump coming, they're afraid of that anarchy, and they're afraid of the anarchy in this city itself. We have to provide public safety that makes New Yorkers feel safe. Demonstration is one thing. Violating the law is something else. Blocking public transit is something else. Stopping students from going to class is something else. Harassment, intimidation, that's a hate crime. That's illegal. Enforce the law. Respect the police. They're not racists, as the assemblyman calls them. They're not a threat to public safety, as he says.
At this in general.
They're not anti-queer.
It's already too contentious for him,
they
but like
are
he's
here
also
to protect
lost
New Yorkers, work with them, fortify them.
Whatever
you know, that's ironic that you say
too
that
comfortable too
now,
I'm sorry,
Andrew
Mr.
Cuomo, because when you were governor for 8 years, your parole board released 43 cop killers back into the street.
Okay,
Your father, when he was governor, released none. I knew Mario Cuomo. You're no Mario Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo. You raised the Don't say you're pro-Palestinian.
Mamdani, do you want to respond briefly to the comments that Mr. Cuomo raised about things you've said about police? You can do a brief response to that.
I have been clear time and time again that as much as Andrew Cuomo wants to bring up tweets from 2020, which is around the same time that he was sending seniors to their death in nursing homes, I am looking to work with police officers, not to defund the NYPD, looking to ensure that officers can actually do one job
like
when they're signing up to join that
9/11
department.
is from 2019.
He was specifically referring to comments you made. We will come back to that, but we're out of time.
Why are you bringing up all the grandparents I killed?
We're moving on. Thank you. Despite record low crime numbers, polls show that crime remains a top concern for New York City voters. The three of you have very different approaches to crime fighting and how to manage the NYPD. We want to get into your plans. So we'll start with this question. It's a two-part question, but it's short. How will you make the city safer?
Funny.
And how will you change the NYPD? You'll have 1 minute. We begin with Mr. Cuomo.
I would add 5,000.
He's really going to win with that one, the Hasan Piker condemnation.
I think you could run next time. Your name's going to be so
known. They took $1 billion out of the police. The NYPD is
no
now
one
down
that
at one of the
watches this
lowest
shit
levels
knows
in
who the
modern
fuck
political
I am.
history.
Yeah.
I would add 5,000 police.
When they Google my name, they're going to find like a bunch of New York Times articles that are positive. So they're not going to be like, what's this guy's deal?
Yeah, and again,
and you have to add additional police officers because
kid?
the attrition rate is so high. Part of that is going to be saying to the NYPD, I respect you. I don't think you're wicked, as the assemblyman said. I don't think you're corrupt. I don't think you're racist.
I
value you. I will have your back. I'll be a mayor to work with you. That's how you're going to get the police to apply for the jobs. And then we have to work on the relationship between the community and the police. The police can't police the community. They have to police with the community.
You're up next, Mr. Sliwa.
This is amazing. I'm standing here with my two adversaries, both of whom have threatened to defund the police. You, Andrew Cuomo, during the summer of 2020, you said if you don't reform,
I came as Zohran and a brain-broken older lady brought you up one time.
And you certainly said that, Zohran Mamdani.
That's kind of aura.
We need 7,000 police. We only have 32,500.
I create
the problem
fear in the
recruiting
hearts of
police,
elderly
which
New
neither
York
of
ladies.
you are addressing, is that their insurance was stripped from them. The state, you did nothing when you were governor, and here in the city, 2021, the city council and Eric Adams did nothing. They don't have qualified immunity, which you've benefited from, Andrew Cuomo, with the 13 lawsuits filed against you for sexual harassment. Tom DiNapoli says we're paying out $60 million. Why? Because you had your qualified immunity as governor, and yet people have stood by as police have lost their insurance and all civil servants. That's why you can't get recruits in, because they're not insured. I will return their qualified immunity because they need to be protected like other civil servants.
That is not New York State. It's New York City on the qualified insurance, on qualified immunity. It's not insurance at all.
You are entitled to free legal counsel, which is what he's referring to.
Yes.
You have spent.
Yes, but it's New York City that has revoke qualified immunity. It's not insurance. It's qualified immunity. It has nothing to do with insurance.
Well, that protected you in all these lawsuits.
And yes, the lawsuits, because there was a report filed. I said it was political. It turned out to be political, and that's why
all 13 women were lying. Come on, Andrew. All 13 women were lying.
After 5 years,
a state trooper too.
After 5 years, 5 DAs, 5 years of litigation.
That's why I call
Mr. Mamdani, how will you
once
make?
In a while.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani, how will you make the city safer, and how will you change the NYPD?
Thank you. This is the concern for so many New Yorkers, and I'm proud to have a comprehensive plan to bring new ideas to this city. If you want more of the same, vote for Andrew Cuomo. If you want an actual approach to lower crime, look at our Department of Community Safety. That is something that has been hailed by experts as addressing so many of the pieces of why New Yorkers are not feeling safe today. We will ensure that no longer are police officers asked to do the job of both policing and responding to the mental health crisis. We will have dedicated teams of mental health outreach workers in the top 100 subway stations with the highest levels of the mental health crisis and homelessness. We will ensure that cops can finally go back to the response times they used to have in 2020, closer to 11 minutes, as opposed to the closer to 16 minutes today, because they won't be asked to respond to the 200,000 mental health calls that are coming in through 911 every year. This is evidence-based. It's been successful elsewhere in the country. It's time we deliver it right here in New York City. It's time for a change.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Zohran Mamdani, we already had it. It's called the Homeless Outreach Unit.
I'm sorry, this is not free-for-all. We have another question for Mr. Mamdani.
And Bill de Blasio funded them by taking $1 billion out of the budget.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Mamdani. We're going to talk about disciplining police officers. The civilian watchdog that investigates police misconduct regularly recommends discipline for cops accused of wrongdoing, but the police commissioner often overrides them. You want to change that policy so that the board has final say. Please explain to viewers in 30 seconds why you believe the police commissioner should no longer have that final say.
What I've said is that I think it's time to remove much of the politics out of the question of accountability. We have the Civilian Complaint Review Board, which, as you said, studies, assesses, and investigates into complaints of abuse and the violation of the law. And oftentimes, those recommendations are then subject to political pressures and not followed through on. I think New Yorkers deserve a system where they know it won't then be assessed once again that there's actually more to the recommendation in the investigation that's being done by the CCRB.
Okay, we're wrapping up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Cuomo, do you believe changes are needed for how officers are disciplined? And are there any powers that you would give up as mayor? You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would not remove the police commissioner from the CCRB. I'd leave it with the police commissioner. I think Commissioner Tisch is doing a very good job. I would trust her. The difference between me and the assemblyman is he doesn't like the police. That's why he won't hire more police when everyone else says we need more police. He wants to use social workers on domestic violence calls, which are very dangerous. And he's told you what he thinks. He thinks the police are racist, wicked, corrupt, and a threat to public safety.
Thank you.
Those are his words.
Very quick. Mr. Mamdani, very quick.
Look, Andrew Cuomo is a politician of the past, and all he can speak about are the tweets of the past in 2020. Those are tweets which I have apologized for to New Yorkers and police officers directly, and they are not what I am actually running on.
No,
but you're incapable of actually speaking about the platform that we have here, which is one that will keep New Yorkers safe.
Can I just quickly ask you, because I think what some people feel they haven't heard from you, we hear you saying that you don't believe that anymore, and you've apologized. People have not heard you sort of describe the evolution of your thought, how you got from there to here.
You know, growing up in this city, I would think often about safety and justice and the ways in which that relationship has been irrevocably harmed. When I learned about the exonerated five, when I learned about Sean Bell, when I learned about Eric Garner, when I learned about Michael Brown. And then in 2020, when I wrote these tweets, learning about the death of George Floyd. And that was a moment where it felt as if the distance between these two ideals had never been further. And in becoming an assembly member and serving and representing more than 100,000 people in Queens, learning that to deliver justice means to also deliver safety. And that means leading a city where you recognize the bravery of the men and women who joined the NYPD and put their lives on the line. It means representing the Muslims who were illegally surveilled in my district and the black and brown New Yorkers who have been victims of police brutality.
So Mr. Sliwa, you've been out there, you've been on the trains, and I would like to know if you believe changes are needed of how officers are disciplined.
Let me just suggest, Zohran, what you've suggested.
Zohran, Curtis.
Zohran.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Appreciate
Let me just suggest what you have proposed with this new police outreach unit will endanger women and children in domestic violence situations. I know I've been involved in so many of them with the Guardian Angels. They will be killed.
I've
They
been
will
involved
be
in
maimed.
many domestic
Number two,
violence.
in dealing with emotionally
Dude,
disturbed
he did a hate
persons
crime on camera
that
on
I have
Fox
dealt
News
with
like a
for all
couple
my
years
years
ago.
as a guardian
On the Sean
angel.
Hannity show.
You need
They
trained
just beat on a
professionals.
random American
Yes,
of like
you can have mental health workers
Latin
with
American
them,
background.
but that
Yeah.
has been
Yeah,
suggested.
they were like, oh,
it
that's
was
just
done
illegal.
before
They
by
beat
the
the
homeless
shit out of him
outreach
on
and
camera
and
on
the
the
guy
Sean
you
Hannity
thought
show.
was the best
And
thing
then
that
it came out
de
later that
Blasio
he was just an
disbanded.
American
Mr. Sliwa,
citizen.
thank you. Brief response.
To be very clear, the Department of Community Safety is not about responding to calls of domestic violence. We are speaking about mental health crisis and the homelessness crisis. These are the focuses of the work that they will do.
All right. We have other questions for that a little later in the debate, but we want to just change the pace a little bit, candidates, switching gears to the high cost
He
of
should have
living
defended you.
in New York City. To kick us off, we have a
Condemned
few
the comment.
quick
That was an L,
pocketbook
not on a personal
questions
level of
that
politics.
New Yorkers
Wait, he
wrestle with
did.
daily.
He
So
said
we
we
want to
shouldn't
know
be
how much you spend a
stopping
week
ourselves
on
from talking to people like
groceries. We'll begin
Hasan
with you, Mr.
Piker.
Cuomo.
He did do that.
Depends how many times my daughters come over.
He's running for mayor of New York. He's not going to be
probably
like,
about
listen, as a New
150.
Yorker,
Hasan Piker
Okay,
was
Mr.
based.
Sliwa?
Oh, I'd say about
Imagine in a deeper sense of how
$175
America has
with a
consequence
gallon
for
of
its
milk,
actions.
now
Yeah.
$5 and always rising up. Loaf of bread.
Who do you want him to say?
Simple
Be like,
loaf
that
of bread.
comment was
Used to be
awesome. I would
99
like to do that as
Mr.
well.
Mike,
Is that what you
$3
think?
now.
I retract my
The price
retweet
is
of that
Mr.
comment.
Sliwa,
It's
thank
too
you.
costly.
It's a brief answer. Thank you. Mr. Mamdani.
Yeah, I actually agree with Curtis on that. It is too costly. Now that eggs are down to less than $4, though, my average spend every week is about $125, $150.
All right. Do you carry credit card debt or do you pay it off every month? Mr. Mamdani?
Also,
I pay
I
it off
low-key
every
was
Mr. Cuomo.
was a bullet
Paid off.
that he took,
Mr. Sliwa.
I don't have a credit
which
card. I have a
allowed
debit
him
card.
not to condemn Hamas.
And for the record,
Which is so funny.
what is your monthly rent or mortgage,
my
Mr.
9/11
Sliwa?
comment is reprehensible.
About
as opposed to Hamas,
$3,900.
which is the most honest
not,
form of resistance.
subsidized.
Yeah.
Mr. Mamdani, what is your monthly rent or mortgage?
$2,300.
Oh, I
Mr.
should
Cuomo.
stop giving them talking
Yes,
points.
Hasan should put down his
that a
phone.
poor person's supposed to have. Mine is about $7,800.
We are actually getting to
We're
that.
gonna cover that subject.
I
Sally?
appreciate that.
Thank you. We're going to talk a little bit more about the runaway rent in this city. Mr. Mamdani, you're pledging to freeze rent for nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. That really affects less than half of all rentals in the city. What is your plan for those who aren't in stabilized apartments but are struggling to pay the rent? What are you going to do for them?
Well, I'm proud to say that I, yes, will freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, and I will also build 200,000 truly affordable homes across the 5 boroughs over the next 10 years to ensure that tenants, whether rent-stabilized or market rate, can actually have more housing such that they are not being priced out of this city. And finally, I'm also going to make it easier for the private sector to build housing in this city, because what we see today is that it's not labor, it's not materials, it's the weight that is often costing so much to actually build the housing we need in this city.
Thank you. And a follow-up for you, Mr. Mamdani. The cost of maintaining a building change year to year for landlords. The Rent Guidelines Board is legally required to consider those costs when deciding whether to freeze rents. So how can you promise a rent freeze today before ever seeing that data next year?
You know, we've seen the data time and again. It's
But next
data
year's data.
It's been data that's been overruled by mayors again and again. The last Rent Guidelines Board study showed that profits were up 12% for landlords of those units. And what did they do? They raised the rent, adding to more than 12% under Eric Adams' administration. What I am speaking about is actually reflecting the needs of these New Yorkers and the state of the market today. These are New Yorkers who have a median household income of $60,000. We do not need to be pushing them further out of the city. We need to keep them in their homes.
Aren't you saying in that answer that you are going to prejudge? You will not have seen the data for next year, and you're making a determination based on data you haven't seen.
I've seen the data year after year of the fact that salaries are stagnating,
Based
costs
on
are
the
up,
current
New Yorkers can't actually afford their apartments. And I will also take action to actually ensure that the landlords of those buildings
we're
can
at
better handle their
time.
costs by taking on their insurance,
It is
their property
based on
taxes,
annual
and their water
data,
bills.
and you haven't seen next year's data
Mr.
yet, but
Cuomo,
we're going to go
I
to
do have a
Melissa.
question for you on this subject. You have proposed something that you're calling Zohran's Law. You think that Mr. Mamdani earns too much to live in his rent-stabilized apartment, though I should note that there are no income tests for rent-stabilized apartments. But critics say your plan would force people to pay too much of their income towards the rent. So if you think Mr. Mamdani is gaming the system, what about the other New Yorkers, thousands of them just like him, who earn similar salaries, who are living in similar apartments?
Okay, just to follow up on what Sally was saying, because she's right. This is not a new plan that the Assemblyman is talking about. It's Bill de Blasio's plan. It was called Freeze the Rent.
Oh,
Bill
so
de Blasio says
it's happened before.
the mayor can't say legally he's going to freeze the rent. There's a Rent Guidelines Board. There are certain considerations that have to be looked at. You're right, Sally.
Oh, so it's
You can't say
doable,
today
and
what
it's been
is going
done
to be
before.
in 4
Thank you.
years.
So it's not
also,
communism.
freeze to rent only postpones the rent, because then you have to have an increase to cover the costs. Otherwise, the building is going to go bankrupt.
No.
And it does nothing for the majority of renters who aren't in these rent-stabilized units. There's nothing for NYCHA. There's nothing for homeowners. There's nothing for people in black-brown communities who are getting priced out. I was the HUD secretary. I built affordable housing all across this nation. I built affordable housing in this city when I was in my 20s. I know how to get it done.
How'd you get that job?
On the rent-stabilized units.
How'd you get that fucking job?
Those are the
in your 20s
precious
without any
units,
experience.
And we
You're out
should
of time. I'm sorry, Mr.
keep
Cuomo.
them for the
We didn't get an answer
most
to the
rent
question.
burden.
We have to move on.
But I have a question for you.
No, sorry, he invoked me for much of that question. Just a very brief response
Please,
here.
very brief.
You know, you've heard it from Andrew Cuomo that the number one crisis in this city, the housing crisis, the answer is to evict my wife and I. He thinks you address this crisis by unleashing my landlord's ability to raise my rent. If you think that the problem in this city is that my rent is too low, vote for him. If you know the problem in this city is that your rent is too high, vote for me.
If I understand it,
Sons of millionaires need subsidized
Zohran's law
housing.
would not evict Mr. Mamdani.
It would not evict it.
It would
No,
apply
he
to
just-
people applying for.
Oh my God!
But the tenant advocate.
It would affect. It would
He
evict
made it
no
up.
one.
This
It
does
would
not
be
affect.
income
We
limitation
have to move
on the
on.
rappers.
I have a
Mr.
question
Sliwa.
for Mrs.
This is
Sliwa.
like
Rosarina-
a spat in the schoolyard. Let me
No,
suggest.
Mrs.
Can I please
Rosarina
ask
has
the
a
question?
specific question for you on this.
Yeah, well, I wanted to
hear.
talk about affordability
Well, you can
and
use it, 'cause-
obviously address
Absolutely.
that
Go
issue.
ahead. Yeah.
So you've proposed, Mr. Sliwa, plans that would make a point of talking about the struggle of renters and property owners. Describe your plan to help renters and landlords.
Well, first off, we have 6,000 available apartments that the mayor controls in NYCHA, and they've been empty for years. That you address, number one. Then we talk about senior citizens who are living here. My whole goal is to improve and not to move. I'm concerned about the seniors, especially those that own homes. If they're 65 and make less than $250,000, no property tax, because the property tax is way too high. We need to cut it in half to keep people who are here. And then in terms of rentals, we have affordable housing that can be built in these huge skyscrapers. You see them all throughout Manhattan and in northern Brooklyn and in Long Island City, which we have 25 Empire State Buildings full of commercial space that will never be occupied for office space. We should be converting them into affordable apartments. They're in dense areas. The infrastructure can support it. I'm the only candidate here who's against the
Mr.
city of
Sliwa,
yes
thank you.
that would
Mr.
destroy
Sliwa.
Courtesy was the
residential
I have
only
to interrupt you
acceptable
because we have a
Republican.
programming moment right now.
Like,
We're about
I think-
halfway through the mayoral debate.
Okay.
Channel 4 and Telemundo 47
So
will
much to
return
talk
regular
about here.
programming.
Holy fuck. Okay, so this is the first half. This is the first half of the debate.
God damn.
Zohran fucking cooked. I mean, he cooked. He did a great job overall. I think there's like some wishy-washy stuff there. It's just like, I get why people get so fucking annoyed when they're like, they talked way too much about Jewish people. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, it gets it out where people go, okay, enough.
Yeah,
Enough. And also to like talk about Jewish people, then like go back to affordable housing. And you're like, yeah, that's probably more important for
are they
New
back?
York City.
Did they not take a break? What's going on? I thought they were supposed to, right?
MetroCard or
Never mind.
OmniPay.
Uses OmniPay?
Yeah, OmniPay, yeah. MetroCard, I mean, I have one, but, I know I'm hanging on to the last
So
moment.
you're on the subways, Mr. Sliwa. What do you use? I'm just curious. If you don't.
OmniCard. In fact, I got a whole batch.
Okay.
I'm in the subways. I'm in the buses.
believe
I'm in
he lived
the
in the
express
subway.
buses. The only candidate
No,
who
he would
rides
never.
mass
That means he's
transit every day.
homeless.
When you
He
need to
has
get somewhere
be
fast
himself.
and you can't take the train, do you hail a taxi? Do you use rideshare? Mr. Sliwa, what do you do?
I try to avoid yellow cabs. As you know, I was shot in the back of a yellow cab in 1992 by the Gottis
He
and
got hit by a
Gambinos.
yellow cab, too.
But I'd find my way around. If I have to, I
That's such a
Uber if I
specific
can't get there
reason.
by mass transit.
What do you do, Mr.
blame him.
Mamdani, if you can't take the train?
I would either take a cab or ride a bike.
Mr. Cuomo?
I will take a cab, Uber.
Okay. All right, thanks, gentlemen.
Wow, we
Sally?
got some limos
Thank you,
in there.
David.
He's
Let's talk
never-
about free buses. Mr. Mamdani, this is a centerpiece of your campaign. Can you explain how you will make buses free? You have 30 seconds to answer.
Absolutely. We will make buses free by replacing the revenue that the MTA currently gets from buses. This is revenue that's around $700 million or so. That's less money than Andrew Cuomo gave to Elon Musk and $959 million in tax credits when he was the governor. And the reason that we will do so is that making buses free doesn't just just provide economic relief, but also public safety, because what we've seen is that it decreases assaults on bus drivers by 38.9%. New Yorkers deserve more than the slowest buses in the country. I know that because I was on the M57 not too long ago, and its average speed is 4.9 miles an hour.
We're at time, though, but the question is how you'll make them free.
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares, and that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany, and I've put forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
We're going to move along, but I just want to point out to viewers that Governor Hochul has opposed raising the income tax. But, Melissa, we'll move on to your question.
Could I address that on the buses? Because half the people don't pay their bus fare to begin with, Zohran. And so
Zohran.
It's a complete disaster. If you have free bus fare, and the Citizens Budget Commission said just last year, 2024, $1 billion of fare evasion in all different forms. This MTA system will collapse. There's not enough money out there to make up for fare evasion. Pay your fare. If you don't pay your fare, they have fare programs for the poor and the indigent. But everybody should be forced to pay their fare.
Mr. Cuomo, you had both praise and some criticism from Mr. Mamdani's free bus pilots. You're sort of in the middle on this issue. What's your plan to make subways and buses more affordable?
I think free buses is a mistake. It costs about $700 million. Just
Thank you for sponsoring the Piker Broadcasting Service chatters.
3
mega legs. Thank you for the 50 big
ones. It's been done before in other cities. It was a disaster. They stopped. They basically became mobile, homeless, gathering places. What I say is free buses for working families who can't afford it, and free subways for working families. But don't subsidize rich people on a bus. And
how are you going to?
It's been tried and it's failed.
Has that been his pitch?
Mr. Mamdani, can you just respond quickly on the point about the mobile homeless gathering places?
You know, this is something that we heard when we were fighting to make buses free in Albany when we delivered the first fare-free bus lines in New York City history. And what we saw is when we made one bus route free in each borough of New York City, there was no increase in homelessness on those buses. There was no increase in fare evasion in the surrounding area. What there was an increase in ridership of up to 38%.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Candance, maybe we can dig deeper on this and get a sense of how all of you would pay for your big ideas. Mr. Mamdani, we'll start with you. We've obviously been talking about free buses. You've talked about free childcare, city-run grocery stores.
I gave up because
essentially you're proposing about $10 billion in
this is
new
the community one.
And as you've indicated, you want to pay for it with tax increases. But Sally pointed out, Governor Hochul said no to raising income tax on millionaires. So tell New Yorkers tonight how you're going to pay for all of this in 1 minute.
Kathy Hochul
Look, a lot of people have called even my campaign a non-starter when we first began. And now I stand before you proud to be the Democratic nominee who got the most votes in city primary history. And I believe we will see the same thing with our push to ensure that we are taxing the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations the fair amount that they should pay. Now, there are those who will say that because it will be hard, you should give up. We saw what giving up looked like when Andrew Cuomo was the governor. He gave up on fighting for working-class New Yorkers and instead caved in to his billionaire donors. And what did we get? We have the fastest and most frequent helicopter service to the Hamptons, and we have the slowest and more expensive bus service across the 5 boroughs.
But again, Mr. Mamdani, I know Governor Hochul indicated this week there may be some open windows, but more or less income tax on millionaires is off the table, according to the governor.
Look, I've said very clearly, making buses fast and free costs about $700 million a year. Making universal child care a reality costs about $5 or $6 billion a year. If you raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, you'd be raising $5 billion in and of itself.
I have a couple of follow-ups. Mr. Sleeper, you're next, but I have a couple of follow-ups.
I would just want to add one additional thing. We have also put forward a plan to save money here in New York City with $1 billion in savings through procurement reform, through following the independent budget office's assessment about hiring more fiscal auditors, and in actually collecting the fines and fees from bad landlords across the city.
Just a quick couple of follow-ups. If you could find some of the funding, but not all of it, which of your priorities would come first? What would be the first among equals that you would try to get done?
Well, freezing the rent doesn't require any fiscal infusion, so that will be something we'll be pursuing immediately. And universal childcare, after housing, is the second cost. Childcare is the second cost pushing New Yorkers out of this city. $22,500 a year is the estimate we've seen. That will be a priority for us.
And I just want to know if you could get the money and funding elsewhere, would you drop the call for the tax increase?
Absolutely. The most important thing is funding these agenda items. I think these are the two most important and straightforward, direct ways to do so. But if the money comes from elsewhere, the most important thing is funding.
Melissa has a question.
Mr. Sliwa, you've been talking about cutting taxes and spending. So what is your plan, and how would you pay for your programs, like 7,000 more cops?
Cuomo's going to tank, I think, after this.
Zohran,
it was so dumb.
Boy, your fantasies.
I do mean legitimately, like bringing my name up as like a big line of attack.
It's a fantasy. Let's deal with the reality.
How unserious he is, because no one knows who the fuck I am.
You already have a plan in Boston.
So if like those are the most impactful moments that he had, it's him
in the future. This is a great plan.
It's him defending
in
his
which
rape
universities and others who have bought up properties
the moderator, you actually have this
that are now taken from the real estate market and taken from property tax.
He's offered nothing that makes you go, oh,
we could raise
cool,
$1 billion from Columbia University, NYU, that are in the real estate business, and Madison Square Garden. Your friends, Andrew Cuomo, Jimmy Dolan, who pays no property taxes. That's how you raise $1 billion to get 700 police officers trained, vetted, and out into the streets in the 5 boroughs. And then the police will be on the subways, and they will be patrolling the old-fashioned way where they're needed, going up and down the moving subway cars where people want to see the visual protection, especially women who are being assaulted, perved. And like we saw this morning on 86th Street, a woman with a gun to her head, an armed robbery because we don't have enough cops.
I have a question for you in this topic, and let's talk about history, because as governor, you raised and cut taxes. Now you're proposing some tax relief. What's the price tag for your proposals, and where will you get the money for example, 5,000 new police officers? You have a minute to answer.
I think Sally's question was very well taken. The Assemblyman's whole plan is based on a myth. He's going to raise taxes. Albany's going to raise taxes statewide on corporations, but the money's only going to go to New York City. That could never happen. It's not just that the governor wouldn't support it. It's impossible. He said he's going to raise the taxes the same as New Jersey, corporate tax. No, it would be double the tax. You would see New Yorkers on 995 fleeing to Florida. We would be alone. So you have to be realistic with revenue. You have a $115 billion budget. You have to go through that city budget and find savings. I started the state, which is double the budget of the city, it had a $10 billion deficit. I closed it and added services. And we can do the same with New York City.
New York is already more expensive than these other places. People still choose to live there because it's fucking New York City. It's bullshit.
It would be whatever additional spending would be revenue neutral.
People go to Florida when they're ready to go to Florida.
It's impossible. You got to cut taxes for people to stay here.
Thank you.
Corporations are not going to stay here. They're being lured.
People try to do that with Austin, and they fucking run back to California.
You got to cut the property tax, income tax for those who are 19 to 28 who have skill levels if they go to school here.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
Andrew Cuomo thinks it's all right to spend $60 million to fund his legal defense from accusations of more than a dozen women of sexual harassment. But if I say we should spend the same amount of money on delivering cheaper groceries in this city through a pilot program, that is unfathomable.
Quick, David, I have a right to respond to that.
Yes, quickly.
First, I did not bring those lawsuits. That was brought by the Attorney General, which I said was political.
Well, those
that's what generated
the
legal fees.
Women, and some of them have still been making their way through the courts
it's political,
this year.
and those harlots are lying. Come on.
Not all of them.
Yeah.
This is a great debate performance.
What the Assemblyman doesn't say is all this money that he wants to pass.
Smart to bring up
the one thing he did do is he voted for a pay raise for himself. Yeah. They're the highest paid legislators in the United States.
I did ask the State Controller's Office this week. I did ask the State Controller's Office this week. The total was above $60 million. But just those sexual harassment cases to defend Governor Cuomo and his staff was about $21
Sorry, it was
million.
The sexual harassment and
I just want to clarify because you said 60, but on those cases it was 21.
Okay. Thank you. We have to talk about quality of life in the city. Let's turn to everyday life in the city and some issues a mayor can directly impact. We start with a couple of questions about 311. The number New Yorkers call or text for non-emergency help. First off, have you ever called 311? And if so, for what?
You could do that like if you're putting out like
I called 311 for issues with my heating in my apartment. And I've spoken to New Yorkers time and time
This is
again
bread and butter.
who are frustrated by the fact that
Mr.
they can
311.
track their Uber
He's the
Eats
type of
block
motherfucker
by
who will be
block,
on the
but when
other
they call
side.
311 for them to come to their apartment, it's just a question of hoping and praying that they do. There's no actual appointment. That's something that we would change.
All right, Mr. Sliwa, have you ever called 311?
You know, there used to be that song, 911 is a joke by Public Enemy. 311 is a joke. You can call it over and over and over again, and you never get a response.
Have you?
The analytics are when the operators talk to you, as I talk to them.
Have you called?
Yes, I've called them many times and gotten no response.
Mr. Cuomo,
Citizens I talk to in subways and streets never get good responses from 311.
Short answer. Mr. Cuomo?
I've heard a lot of complaints about 311, so I actually made a call to 311 myself to see if the complaints were
That's the
bona
only
fide.
time he's ever made it.
And I was dropped twice. Then they were going to send someone to help a homeless woman in distress, and no one showed up.
You're all expressing frustration. Last year, 311 received 38 million contacts from New Yorkers, from calls to the website. Wanted to know if you had a sense across the 5 boroughs what the top 2 categories of complaints were. What do you think they were, Mr. Sliwa?
Potholes, constantly potholes. People's undercarriages ripped out, ball bearings, alignments.
Second one, top 2?
Rats.
Picking up.
Rats. Okay.
The city is flooded with rats.
Mr. Cuomo, what do you think the top 2
Shouts out
complaints
Eric
were?
Adams.
Homeless and trash rats.
All right, Mr. Mamdani?
I think it was housing and noise.
Okay, so the answer is noise and illegal parking. And we're going to stick with quality of life. Rosarina?
Wow.
That's right. And let's talk about noise candidates because
Ding,
they
ding,
fall
ding.
into
Rats
these
is
2
crazy.
categories.
That'd
First
be
of all,
called
it's the
311 if I
residential
saw a
one.
rat.
That's the neighbors and the loud music. And the second one is
There's a
the
picture
street
of you.
or sidewalk, everything with the loud
Meme.
construction and workers outside.
Before you started
So,
working out?
Mr. Cuomo,
head's tiny.
as mayor, what
That's
can
what
you
they
do
say.
to help the city that never sleeps get a little bit of rest, Mr. Cuomo?
Yeah, look, I think if the 311 system worked
what is
well,
this line of
if
questioning?
there was actually contact
As a New
with
Yorker, I'm
people,
like,
I think
oh,
New
tell me what we're
Yorkers
doing to
would
fix
get it. I
this.
think New Yorkers would
Do we have
be
to be
responsive.
whimsical?
I think we have to
with the
change
question?
the ethos in this city, the ethic in this city. Right now, it's toxic, it's divisive.
How do you see New York as the Big
Everyone's
Apple?
angry at everyone. I think when we have public safety that's functional again, and New Yorkers are part of that system, I think they would be more cooperative than you think.
Thank you very much.
There's no proposal in there.
Mr. Sliwa, how would you quiet a little bit the city that never sleeps?
In the outer boroughs, I see problems all the time, quality of life issues. 18-wheel tractor trailers, RVs parked everywhere. Garbage that's not picked up and collected. In the city, we've seen trash cans taken away by the sanitation department, Jessica Tisch, when she was the commissioner. The quality of life has diminished noticeably. So naturally, people are going to revert to 311. But it's important that a mayor be able to provide services to all the people. And they believe if quality of life is diminished, the next stop is sell your house and leave the city. And my goal is to improve and not move.
Mr. Mamdani.
But these guys see every
What we've seen is one of the biggest sources of noise in the city is from congestion. And with the implementation of congestion pricing, we've actually seen noise complaints drop in the congestion zone. And so I would continue to find ways to ensure that we have reduced congestion across the city. And one of the ways is by making the slowest buses in America ones that are fast and free, so that New Yorkers can not only live a life of excellent quality of life, but also be able to get around this city without having to worry if they have $2.90 or soon to be $3 in their pocket, which is already out of reach for 1 in 5 New Yorkers.
We have here the author of congestion pricing, and we have the apprentice of congestion pricing.
We might
I'm
need
the only candidate who's opposed to congestion pricing.
Thank you.
It has led to
We might need to-
storefronts
we might need to
closing
place-
because they don't
Why
have
are
enough
you owning
food
that?
for
We need to
drivers.
move on, otherwise we might have to place a call to 311 about candidates going over there a lot of time. Okay? So we're going to move
No
on
one's
to
there, don't worry.
We're going to move on to illegal parking plaques in many neighborhoods. Recently, Councilmember Lincoln Ressler released a study that found 450 vehicles parked illegally during the day in downtown Brooklyn, many with fake or government placards. That's just one snapshot of the city, but you hear similar complaints everywhere. So how would you fix this specific situation? You'll have 30 seconds, Mr. Sliwa.
This is day to day.
Well, obviously, placards have been abused consistently. You have people who've created fake placards. Not only that, you have people with fake license plates, paper plates. There's all violations against the Department of Transportation rules and regulations of where you can park a vehicle. There's just no enforcement. And that's because we don't have police. We have these e-bikes going up and down. We have the motorbikes. They're not following rules and regulations. They should be licensed. They should have a way of being identified. This way, enforcement can take place because people are terrified walking out into the streets.
Mr. Mamdani, your plan for illegal parking?
We have to showcase that accountability is true, whether for New Yorkers who are just living in this city or those who are working for this city. And the violation of traffic laws are violations no matter who is doing it, and to show that that accountability is something my city government's actually going to pursue.
Okay. Mr. Cuomo.
On the quality of life, you're right, is very, very important. On the placards, I would make it simple. I would recall all the city placards and reissue only those that are bona fide, period, on day one. On the quality of life issues, the worst thing that could happen is if the Assemblyman's proposal for legalizing prostitution went through. That would be terrible for the quality of life. He also doesn't want to enforce misdemeanors.
We're getting to that,
That's
Mr.
assault, larceny, et cetera. That would be terrible.
We're going to have time to address that.
I want to be very clear. Not only have I never called for the legalization of prostitution, I'm not calling for that today either. And I also have never said anything about not enforcing misdemeanors. This is just yet another figment of Andrew Cuomo's imagination.
The DSA, which you give your part of your salary to, that's their position, abolish jails, no new carceral facilities, don't enforce misdemeanors. And you're on the bill in Albany as a sponsor to decriminalize prostitution.
The difference between myself and Andrew Cuomo, of which there are many, is that there is no one that is actually telling me what to do other than the 8.5 million people who call this city home. If you want my policies, you'll find them on my website.
Who told you to legalize prostitution?
Well,
we actually have a question.
Andrew, you can't escape this. You signed the law doing away with loitering for prostitution. That was the law put forward by Jessica Ramos.
Gentlemen,
you started the prostitution in East Elmhurst, and Jackson Heights, and Flushing.
Mr. Sliwa, we have...
And you want to add to it, which diminishes the quality of life.
Mr. Sliwa, when I talk over you, nobody's hearing you, and we actually have a question on that. So we'll let Rosarina ask.
And for this question, candidates, we want to come to Queens, where we know that prostitution has been an ongoing complaint. Mayor Adams formed a task force and ordered sweeps by the NYPD. But the situation continues, especially around the very popular Roosevelt Avenue. As mayor, Mr. Mamdani, how would you handle this situation? You have 30 seconds.
I want to first be clear that I am not, and nor have I ever called for the legalization of prostitution. And if you are happy with what's happening on Roosevelt Avenue, then you should vote for Andrew Cuomo, because his policy is to continue the exact same ones we've seen under Eric Adams. My policy is to actually take on sex trafficking, to have a zero tolerance for violence against women, and to follow the advice of district attorneys that we have here in New York City,
and you know,
the current
Andrew
Manhattan
Cuomo
DA, the former Manhattan DA, the current Brooklyn DA, the former Manhattan DA having said that prosecuting women for prostitution is something that actually leads to less safety. And what we need to do is provide an economy
Mr. Mamdani,
of opportunity.
Just a quick clarification. So no legalization, how about decriminalization?
I do not think that we should be prosecuting women who are struggling, who are currently being thrown in jail, and then being offered job opportunities. I think we should be actually providing those kinds of opportunities at the first point of interaction.
Smart way to bring up decriminalization.
Look, Bill
he has
de Blasio,
a very good way of liberalizing
the Assemblyman is a mini-me
positions.
BDB, okay? He's Bill de Blasio-like.
He really presents like the opposite does
He proposed legalizing prostitution. He didn't get it, and he just told the cops, don't arrest any more prostitutes. There is a bill in Albany that he signed that says the prostitution, that a woman who is a prostitute, that would be decriminalized. That is what the bill says. And that's what he said, if you listen very carefully. That would take Roosevelt Avenue and explode it, because it would make it legal for prostitutes.
But real quick, how would you handle this situation?
You have to enforce the law. It's illegal. I went to Roosevelt Avenue. I talked to the store owners. I taled to the neighbors. I walked down Roosevelt Avenue with prostitutes there at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Your turn, Mr. Sliwa.
I've dealt with this back in the 80s and 90s in Hell's Kitchen in Chelsea when they were overrun
he's
with open air
the worst person to talk about this
prostitution and
because
Times
he's
Square.
literally
You
cop
don't go
rapist
after the
Andrew
women.
Cuomo.
Yeah.
Women are the victims here. You lock up the Johns, you shame the Johns. You let everybody know about the Johns. The
Even
madams
Curtis
and
has
the
a
pimps
tolerant
need to be
approach.
prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And these absentee landlords who knowingly rent their
Curtis Lewa,
rooms,
only acceptable
their
Republican in
apartments out for
America,
use
I
of
swear to God.
prostitution. The Department of Buildings should come in, padlock the building, seize the building. Because many of these landlords live in Delray, Florida. They did back in the 80s and 90s when we did it in Chelsea and Times Square and Hell's Kitchen. And they're doing it again, and there's no enforcement. That's why the prostitution
We're going to go to
flourishes in those
Sally now.
neighborhoods.
Thank you, David. We're going to talk a bit about
Curtis
experience
Nordic
and beliefs.
models.
We've covered a lot of ground tonight,
The
but we
Nordic
want to
model
probe
of
a bit
tackling
deeper into each of your
prostitution.
mindsets and how you'll approach governing as mayor. Mr. Cuomo, you have touted your experience on the campaign trail time and again, but you pretty squarely lost the Democratic primary to Mr. Mamdani, forcing you, a lifelong Democrat, to run as an independent.
That's your guy.
When you announced that decision, you said, quote, "When you get knocked down, learn the lesson and pick
Curtis
yourself
is the one
back
who go,
up."
who the fuck
What
is
lesson
Hasan
did you
Piker?
learn, and what do you feel it said about you, something you did wrong, something that you need to change about yourself?
Yeah, I think in the primary campaign, I did not do enough on social media, which is a very effective medium now.
This is always the mistake. They always think it's social media. This is so fucking stupid.
During the campaign.
I mean, let him fail.
And that is changed.
Yeah, people need
now.
to see more of you on social media.
I've
That's
also,
why.
Increased
That's what'll do
my
it.
activity.
Yeah, let's pull up some of those
significantly.
banger tweets you got going
but
on.
My agenda is exactly the same. I am the Democrat, although I'm not on the Democratic line. He is a
Yikes.
Democratic socialist, called Barack Obama evil and a liar. Didn't vote for Kamala Harris.
He is on the line.
Fight and deliver is I will fight for people, I will fight the bureaucracy, and I will deliver results. New Yorkers need the mayor to get something done. This is all words and theories. I am a manager who can
This is
actually
a question
get
about
things done.
self-reflection. Is the thing you're reflecting on the most that you need to be on social media more? Is there any other deeper lesson?
Between the two campaigns, social media, more accessibility.
Okay.
I just have to say, it's been an hour and 20 minutes of this debate, and we haven't heard Governor Cuomo say the word affordability. That's why he lost the primary. That's why he'll lose the general election. And you can lie all you want, but the truth is, I voted for Kamala Harris. I'm the only candidate on this stage to have the endorsement of Kamala Harris, and I'm not the one who's funded by Bill Ackman, who called Kamala Harris unqualified to be the vice president of this country.
Okay, may I respond?
Yes, brief response, please.
There are a lot of New Yorkers who support
Also,
me.
I don't think New Yorkers
and
care
there are a
about
lot of
Kamala
Jewish
Harris.
New Yorkers
I
who
don't think
support
so, no.
me
Yeah, I think New
because
Yorkers are
they
done with
think
Kamala
you're
Harris.
anti-Semitic. So
New
it's
York
not about
voted for
Trump
her
or
the other day.
Republican.
Wasn't that one?
It's about you.
Do you think he's anti-Semitic, Mr. Cuomo?
I don't make those judgments about people. Are you a racist? Are you an anti-Semite? I know there are many Jewish people who believe he's anti-Semitic.
Okay, but
I
do you?
believe not condemning the globalized Intifada, what he has said about Hamas.
But Mr.
I can
Cuomo,
see where they
I covered
are
your,
inflamed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I covered your speech in an Upper West Side synagogue where you said anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. There is no difference. And you were talking about Mr. Mamdani. Is that not an allegation?
No, I make that statement all the time. I wasn't referring to Mamdani.
Okay, all right. Mr. Mamdani, a brief response, and then we have to move on.
I have denounced Hamas again and again, and it will never be enough for Andrew Cuomo because what he is willing to say, even though not on this stage, is to call me, the first Muslim on the precipice of leading this city, a terrorist sympathizer, is to send mailers that artificially lengthen my beard, is to say to New Yorkers that they should be fearful.
Okay, Mr.
What I will do is deliver
Melissa has a specific question
Mr.
for you.
Mamdani, you are the Democratic nominee, and you're also a member, as we've been discussing, of a political organization that may be less familiar to New Yorkers, the Democratic Socialists of America, which believes in dismantling capitalism.
I know.
New York City is the global headquarters of the finance industry. So how would you be the mayor of Wall Street and the DSA? You have 1 minute.
I would be the mayor of this entire city. And that means ensuring that the wealth that we generate in this city is also wealth that every single New Yorker can actually feel in their pockets. Because what we have today is a system that has generated the most wealth in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, where 1 in 4 of our neighbors are living in poverty. That's unacceptable. We can't look at 500,000 kids hungry every single night as just the cost of doing business in this city. That's something we have to actually change. And I'm going to do that by fighting for my neighbors in Queens that I've come to know, who are not only the ones who own teapots and toy stores, who own diners and dry cleaners, but also the ones who work there. Because right now, all of them are being pushed out of this city by corporate greed, by private equity, and by a politics that refuses to fight for them. I will finally deliver that politics.
Just a quick follow-up, Mr. Mamdani. A lot of Hispanic that flee socialism and are a little bit scared to hear your policies. What would you tell them?
Well, I would first say that I wouldn't be here without the support of Latino New Yorkers, because it was the majority of their support that helped to make me the Democratic nominee. And what democratic socialism means is a belief in the dignity of each and every New Yorker and the responsibility city government has to deliver that dignity. That's why I'm speaking about childcare, because it's pricing out New Yorkers from the city. That's why I'm speaking about freezing the rent, because housing isn't a human right in the way that we practice our politics in this city. And that's why I'm talking about making buses fast and free, because 1 in 5 New Yorkers are being priced out of public transit today.
So, Mr. Sliwa, I would like to talk to you because you were here with us 4 years ago in the same stage for the general election debate, and you lost it. Why do you believe New York is ready to elect a Republican this time around?
First off, did I not warn you 4 years ago that Eric Adams would be corrupt and we would have chaos? Did I not? Of course I did. And I get praised for that. Now I'm trying to get people to vote for me, not just on the Republican line, but also my wife, Nancy, who was the best thing that has ever happened to me, created the first ever independent Protect Animals line, which calls for no-kill shelters and putting animal abusers in jail. But the other thing that differentiates me from both of my adversaries is that I am opposed to the city of yes, which will destroy the residential neighborhoods. Both of them are for the city of yes. So when you vote for me, whether on the Republican line or the Protect Animals line, turn your ballot over and vote no on all those initiatives and referendums. Imagine, they've said, how can you, Curtis, a Republican, work with a Democratic majority in the council? Adrian Adams is in agreement with me. The Democratic city council people are in agreement with me. No to the city of yes, which will take your homes and provide you instead with lithium-ion battery warehouses next to your house, which are like mini Chernobyls. I'm the only candidate who is opposed to the city of yes.
Thank you.
I have a quick follow to that, Mr. Sliwa. How do you bring down costs if you don't build more housing?
Oh, it's very simple to build housing. You just look in New York City. We have so many dense areas where you no longer can use the commercial space. They used to be office space. And you just convert it into residential housing. You don't need to go into the outer boroughs. You don't need to use wetlands or parklands, which they seek to do. If you build a new building, it takes 5 years. If you convert an
All right, Mr. Sliwa, thank you. We want to change the pace
it can
a
be
little
done
bit.
in a year.
I want to change the pace and just get a sense of what you think about political leadership. We're curious about who you admire. Who is the best modern-day U.S. president? Mr. Cuomo?
Modern day? Well, I'm partial. I was Bill Clinton's Housing and Urban Development Secretary. We built affordable housing all across the United States.
So Bill Clinton?
Empowerment zones. I would say Bill Clinton.
Okay. Mr. Mamdani?
I would say FDR.
Mr. Sliwa?
He's modern day?
Modern.
Well, man,
I'd say FDR also, if that's modern day.
Mr. Sliwa?
A man that ended up being loved by Democrats and Republicans alike, the greatest governor we've ever had in my lifetime, George Pataki. 3 terms, no chaos, no corruption.
I was asking.
And he actually beat
President.
the better
President.
your father.
Mr. Sliwa, modern-day U.S.
This
president.
governor and this
Modern-day U.S.
president.
president.
Who's the
who you thought the best modern
best president in our lifetime?
Yeah.
I would say the best president in our lifetime that I've experienced. I would go back to Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. Okay.
Yeah.
How about the best New York City mayor, Mr. Sliwa?
Classic take from him. He won't say fucking.
Best New York City mayor, Mr.
Rudy Giuliani, who endorsed me last week.
Okay.
And I'd have a little bit of Michael Bloomberg thrown in because he liked to delegate responsibility.
I think the best New York City mayor of all time is Fiorello LaGuardia.
Mr. Cuomo?
It was Bill de Blasio last debate.
No, I've always said Fiorello is the best mayor of all time.
Who's yours, Mr. Cuomo?
Is it of all time or modern time?
Best New York City mayor in Europe.
Of all time, it is Fiorello LaGuardia.
We agree.
Yeah, who's closer to LaGuardia between you and fucking Zohran?
How about political
who's closer
leader,
to LaGuardia?
dead or alive, you most admire? Mr. Mamdani?
I would say I admire Bernie Sanders.
Mr. Cuomo?
My father.
Mr. Sliwa?
Yeah.
I said it already, George Pataki, who was loved by Democrats and Republicans and the greatest mayor in our lifetime.
All right.
Greatest governor in our
I just
lifetime.
have one more before Sally starts to ask you about schools. A show of hands. Who supports Kathy Hochul for re-election?
It's a decision that should be made after this general election.
So no decision. Mr. Cuomo,
wow.
You handpicked her as your lieutenant governor. No thought?
You have to know who's running.
Yeah. Okay, so.
And I would add that I do think that Kathy Hochul, our governor, has been doing a good job in not only
Do you
serving
support her
and
for
delivering,
re-election?
not only delivering for New Yorkers, but also standing up to Donald Trump.
Just what? Do you support her for re-election?
Then endorse her.
I'm focusing on November.
Why don't you endorse
and I
her?
appreciate her support,
All right,
and I
thanks,
appreciate
candidates.
her work.
But you
Thanks,
don't endorse
candidates.
her.
How about a shout out for
All right,
Lee
we're gonna
Stefanik to
turn
take out Kathy Hochul?
No.
So you have a
Okay.
Republican
All right.
Mayor Curtis, a Republican Governor
Thank you, gentlemen.
Stefanik,
Thank you.
like Giuliani
You want to
and
talk about
Pataki, who
schools?
saved this city.
We want to
and
talk about
state.
schools. Sally?
Okay. Thank you, David. Let's turn to education. There are a number of issues facing public
Curtis has
schools.
too many opinions
One that's
to
been
stay on.
controversial in the campaign is the Gifted and Talented program, which offers accelerated instruction to elementary school children. Mr. Mamdani, you have said that you want to phase out the Gifted and Talented program, while Mr. Cuomo and Mr. Sliwa want to expand it. Mr. Sliwa, we will start with you. What is your plan for the program? You have 1 minute.
Gifted and talented.
Yes, Gifted and Talented.
I have two younger sons with Melinda Katz, the Queens DA. They both attempted to get into Gifted and Talented as 4-year-olds. They failed. It did not present a problem with their future education. We don't have enough slots. Right now, they're 1,900. We need to have at least 5,000 slots around the city. What they have not done at the Department of Education is make these tests available in Black and Hispanic communities. So, for instance, you have 77,000 children who are 4 years old. Only 10,000 have taken the test. Only 2,000 are accepted. Why not offer the test to all 77,000? And even if a gifted and talented class only has 3 or 4 in a minority school, give these children an opportunity to excel too. That would make it fair for everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Cuomo, how does your plan differ from Mr. Sliwa's? You also have 1 minute.
Oh, my God.
If he gets more votes than Cuomo,
I
I'm
support
down.
mayoral control. I think it would be a terrible mistake to roll back mayoral control. That's probably been the most dramatic educational reform in 40
bigger
years.
bump from
We'd go
this
back to the
than
old
fucking
system
Zohran
that
does.
had
I
local
do
school
think so.
boards, which were corrupt,
But I think he'll
patronage
take more
mills,
from
etc. So
Cuomo.
who runs the system
sure.
is
Yeah,
number
yeah,
one.
yeah.
I would expand the gifted and talented programs, accessibility.
Yeah, I saw Mehdi
I'd offer
Hasan shouted me
preparatory
out.
courses to any student, parent that wanted to take them. I double the number of specialized high schools from 9 to 18. And I would keep the SHSAT as it is.
Thank you. And Mr. Mamdani.
Can I add one thing? There's been no discussion about vocational high schools,
Okay,
which save so many young men and women.
Sorry, this is the
we need to expand vocational training for those who are not going to achieve
keep going here with
academic
Mr.
excellence.
Mamdani. Why should the Gifted and Talented program be phased out, in your opinion? You have a minute to answer.
So I want to be very clear. I have spoken solely of gifted and talented for kindergartners. I do not believe that kindergartners should be subject to a singular assessment. I have not spoken of any gifted and talented programs older than for kindergarten. I'm solely speaking about kindergarten. And I believe that we should be delivering the best education across the country here in this city. We will do that by following through on the proposals I've put forward to hire 1,000 more teachers every single year through our Community to Classroom program, one that will ensure that we're providing each student, whether they be in high school or someone who is an adult looking to become a teacher, with $12,000 in tuition subsidies so that they can start to fulfill the 7,000 to 9,000 additional teachers we need so that we can actually deliver on the Class Size Reduction Act, which I was proud to pass in Albany, that will ensure that children and teachers actually have a manageable ratio in that classroom so that they can learn. Because today, that learning is being rendered impossible by the number of kids in that same classroom. It's time to make so that that number is lower.
But you don't believe the mayor should run the system?
I've been critical of mayoral control because of the ways in which it's been used to take away the voice of parents, of educators, of students. And I think it's important that those same voices be a part of how we lead the system.
So are you for or against mayoral control?
I've been critical of it. I'm against mayoral control. And I think that there's an importance of developing something that actually enshrines all of those voices together.
Mr. Cuomo, you also tried to curtail it when Mayor de Blasio was mayor. But
I'm
you
sorry?
can go.
Did you hear what she said?
No.
I was saying you proposed a curtailment of mayoral control when Mayor de Blasio was mayor during
There's been multiple modifications of mayoral control over
But
the years.
some proposed curtailment at your hand. So if you are such a champion of it tonight,
No,
I
never proposed reversing mayoral control.
No, shortening the duration of time he would have control of schools.
Yes, for renewal. The renewal
Mr. Mamdani,
period.
how much
Counter
control
to
of
what you're
schools,
saying.
Mr. Mamdani, how much control of schools would you be giving up? Is it just a sharing arrangement? I know you want to share with the districts and with parents, or would you be giving up full control? And is that an accountability problem if the buck doesn't stop with you?
I think the mayor needs to retain the accountability so that New Yorkers know exactly who they can come to when they have critiques. And I think we also have to develop a system where we don't have what we saw just recently, where you have hours and hours of parents and teachers and students testifying only to be overruled without any consideration by the panel on
Thank you,
education.
Mr. Mamdani. I have to move on.
Control.
Switching now, it's a question for all three of you. Switching to students with learning challenges. Parents of students with dyslexia, ADHD, and autism are very well aware the fact that the school system in New York City is not doing enough to meet their children's educational needs. How will you help these parents and students? We know that Mayor Adams
Cuomo
has
already lost
expanded evaluations
dyslexic
specifically
autist
for
by
children with dyslexia. It was an issue
demanding
close to his
Zohran
heart, but what would you
condemn me.
do more broadly, Mr. Mamdani?
You know, I think some of the
This community
initiatives that Mayor
rides.
Adams has launched, especially with this chancellor, have been showing positive
Everyone
signs,
in here took
especially for literacy
8
and for
Tylenol
preparedness,
by the handful
especially as
when
we're
they were
in
growing up.
a national crisis on reading and mathematical comprehension. And I think those are programs that should be furthered, should be invested in, all while also ensuring that we're giving teachers greater flexibility in the curriculum that they're actually teaching. Because what I've heard from many of those teachers is that too often the curriculum that's being procured in the $10 billion a year in DOE contracts is one that has little relation to the classroom.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Sliwa, you have 30 seconds.
Yes. We have $41,000 that we're spending on each student now. By fourth grade, 2/3 of these children cannot read, write, or do math at grade level. We should be ashamed of ourselves for that. 100,000 less students than we had last year. 1/3 are truants. We have 200 schools with 200 students or less, and Michael Mulgrew determines which schools stay open. Eric Adams is not exhibiting mayoral control.
They should
the
bring
mayor
Eric
should
Adams up for
run
one question.
the Board of Education, the old Board of Education that is now
He's
the
gonna
Department
also
of
demand that he
Education.
condemn
The
me.
bureaucracy.
Mr.
You have 13
Sliwa.
deputy chancellors. You have 50 department
I had
heads
asked
that
about-
suck up all the money.
I was
and
asking
teachers
about
are still
students
reaching
with
into their
learning
pockets
differences.
to pay
I'm
for
gonna move on
badly
to
needed
Mr.
supplies
Cuomo.
for the children in the class. The money should be going to the
Mr. Sliwa,
teachers
thank you.
and the
Okay.
children and young adults, and it's not.
Mr. Cuomo, what is your specific plan to deal with the challenges of students who have learning differences?
We are losing young families. When the child becomes of school age, they leave the city, they go to the suburbs, they go to New Jersey. They're not going to sacrifice their child on what they think is a secondary education system. The core competency, reading and math, below 50% is a disgrace. The gifted and talented programs gives people hope. I do believe Mayor Adams has made progress on the evaluations and services for children who require special needs and assistance, but obviously we have to do more.
So we have another question about improving schools. And in the last year, the schools enrolled more than 36,000 migrant students, many learning English for the first time. From class size to bilingual teachers, that puts a big strain in the system. Mr. Cuomo, what can you do to help migrant students, but also the staff? You have 30 seconds.
Well, first, I think it was wrong of the state to put so many migrants in New York City. New York City had the overwhelming majority of migrants.
But they're already here.
Close to about 80%. The state should have put them all across the state, Nassau, Suffolk, upstate, so other governments could have also...
Well, they were bused here from Texas,
And
right?
we have a situation
but if
right
they're
now.
bused
They're
from
here.
Texas, you could have brought some to Nassau. 20 miles.
Yeah, but they're here right now,
Westchester.
and we're asking about the current problem.
Yes, well, that's how the problem was created.
Okay, we understand
The
that.
state put them here. The
He's
state
also
gave
bad
the
at
city
just like
the bill.
answering regular questions.
It has now
Like,
increased
it
the
doesn't
challenge
help
in our
that- I mean,
education
this is a
system.
normal question
The
that
state
isn't
is
even
going to have
antagonistic.
to help
Yeah.
financially.
So you didn't answer the question, Mr. Mamdani.
It's even the modern president.
You know, when
he's
I
like,
spoke
"What do you
about our
mean
community to
modern?"
classroom program,
Like, you know.
the importance of it is not just bringing in
He's
1,000
just
more
very
teachers
bad.
every year. It's also that we would bring in a number of more bilingual educators. Because what we've heard from a number of adults who have taught in other countries, now live in New York City, is the process by which they get their certification approved to teach here is one that is onerous and one that is actually pricing many of them out. That's why this is a program that will directly address that, to increase that bilingual capacity in our school system so that we can teach every single child, no matter when they got here,
But
the
Mr.
public education
Mr.
they
Mamdani,
deserve.
this certification has been offered and it hasn't been successful. So how can you make more teachers to be, like they want to do this?
Part of what I've heard is that the tuition costs as part of the same certification exams are onerous for many of these adults looking to switch careers. That's why this program is built upon providing $12,000 in tuition assistance that would lead to 1,000 more teachers every year.
Crazy that he's so buttoned up on
We have
so
not
many
just
different
migrant
issues that
children, we
pertain
have
to the
the
position.
children of the homeless, over 120,000. We haven't yet discussed charter schools, parochial schools that are closing. Normally, parochial schools would have been able to take some of these children. We need to expand the number of charter schools that are doing an amazing job, especially in the inner cities. And why not make that available to migrant children and to the homeless children who are coming from shelters all across the city who need the special teaching skills that have lifted children
That's
in the
crazy.
charter
If Zohran
schools.
said
We
that,
need to
people would yell at
give
him and
choice
be like, "Oh, you
because
want
that's our
homeless kids
most
to be
precious
around, like,
resource,
gifted
our
kids or
children.
whatever
So
the
allow
fuck?"
me to now
But
move
Curtis
on
Leo
into the
gets to say
sanctuary.
that because he's a Stalinist.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. So allow me now to enter into the sanctuary
No, I realize like he is a
and let's talk
he is a
about
socialist,
also
but of the
undocumented
Stalin
immigrants.
variety.
26
Like, he's a
Federal
socially
Plaza has
conservative
become
socialist.
a flagship in federal immigration crackdown. We reported that asylum seekers are showing up for like those routine appointments, not facing any criminal challenges, and they end up being deported. So by the show of hands, we would like to know if you believe that any of you could do something to stop this. Okay. So, Mr. Cuomo, you have a minute to explain.
The berets are red. It's true.
The law is the law. And I would have an attorney assigned to every person who is undergoing any review by the federal government or any legal proceeding, and put the full weight of the city government behind it, and make sure they are legally protected.
Mr. Sliwa, what's your plan?
Look, going after the criminals, that's the job of Immigration and Naturalization Service, ICE. But when they have to perform under a quota, because I speak to many of the men and women who serve this country, it's putting too much pressure to go outside of courthouses, to go Home Depot shape-ups, or in the backs of restaurants and hospitality businesses, which have hired these migrants, and they are essential workers now. I can tell you, I have 3 sons. None of them are going to do that work. Some Americans will, but most won't. We need to protect the migrants who are workers, who are essential workers, and use ICE to go after the drug dealers, the gangbangers,
So what are you gonna do?
the sexual
What are you gonna do?
predators, and those who are sex trafficking and involved in
He doesn't want to stand up to
narco-terrorism.
Trump.
Mr. Mamdani.
He didn't say
Now,
how
I'd
he's
be
going to do it.
proud to be the first
said, "I
immigrant
want us
mayor
to
of this
do-"
city in generations. And it's at 26 Federal Plaza that I've seen what used to be moments when New Yorkers would be getting their citizenship turn into moments of tragedy, where judges are asking New Yorkers who are there for a routine immigration check-in whether they're prepared to leave in the very same clothes that they arrived to that courthouse. I agree that we need more legal representation. I also think we need to actually be able to stand up to Donald Trump, because I heard from Pastor in East Flatbush, Pastor Galbraith, who told me how he accompanied a member of his congregation to 26 Federal Plaza. He sat there as a judge was determining her fate. They managed to convince the judge to replace the deportation order with a TPS order, but they knew that ICE would not care about that change, and they had to sprint her out of the building, smuggling her into the elevator in order to get her back to Brooklyn.
Thank you.
Candidates want to talk about New York City's economy and change the pace a little bit. Everyone supports growing New York City's economy. The mayor is our chief salesman to the business world. So we want to mix it up, test your persuasive power. So we're calling it an elevator pitch. We'll start with you, Mr. Mamdani. In this scenario, imagine you're talking to the CEO of a big tech company, deciding to move its headquarters to New York City or to Dallas. The CEO is concerned New York just raised its corporate taxes and employees will pay more for everything. Look into the camera and make your pitch to that CEO to come here and not there. Do it in 30 seconds.
New York City has something that Dallas or no other city across this country could actually offer. And that is the quality of life. That is the arts and the culture. That is the people that make the city so special. And I, as the mayor of this city, will deliver that quality of life, will deliver the safety that is the cornerstone of an affordability agenda, and will ensure that companies choose to come to this city and also choose to stay in this city. Because so much of what drives the tech sector is a hunger for innovation, a unrepenting desire to actually innovate, and those are the very things that are going to characterize my city government in this.
But what do you say to the CEO about the corporate taxes and also the staggering costs for the workers?
We are going to make this city more affordable so that workers who want to work at those companies can actually be able to do so. And we're going to ensure that this city continues to be one where we see businesses opening.
Workers are going to be much more. Workers are going to be more productive when they have affordable housing.
The CEO of a similar company with 1,000 good jobs tells you she's very close to moving her headquarters out of New York City.
Literally don't
she
work
cites
because
everything
you
from
can't actually
taxes
bring
to the
in
crushing
good
cost
talent
of
to
living
places like
for her
that.
employees in New York City. How do you convince that CEO to stay? Please look into the camera and make your elevator pitch. You have 30 seconds.
We know that
not rape you.
The
I
other
promise.
companies in New York City. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, Curtis.
The question is to me in this camera?
Yes, the question is how you would convince the CEO of a company with 1,000 good jobs who's looking to move out of New York City because of the high cost of living for her employees and taxes, how you would convince her to stay in New York City.
In 15 seconds?
30.
Okay.
30
Oh
seconds.
my God.
He's so fucking old!
I get it.
You're
I
old,
understand
bro.
your frustration. I understand that the far left has been raising taxes and making businesses feel like the enemy. We get it. That's gone. The DSA, the socialist orientation, we're not socialists. It didn't work in Venezuela, didn't work in Cuba, didn't work here.
Take a fucking prompt,
we know that we have to
dude.
work with business.
Take a
we want to
prompt,
be your
dude.
partner.
No.
We want to have taxes that help us grow our city, but are competitive for you.
We're at time.
And we want to partner to grow your business and our city together.
Mr. Sliwa, let's talk about business because let's assume the big tech company that we pitched to Mr. Mamdani earlier has decided to move to New York, and it's 1,000 good paying jobs, and the CEO wants to be based in Astoria, Queens. But there's a loud pushback of residents who don't want the noise and the traffic. How can you convince the residents to accept the new neighbor? You're speaking to a very powerful community. How can you convince them?
But we saw that with Amazon. Amazon wanted to come in, and AOC led the charge, and local elected officials to say no to Amazon. That was a big mistake. I would say this. Our companies are being recruited away by the day. We have young people who are going to school here who could fill their needs in these high-tech industries who also are being lured away. We need to cut their income taxes for 5 years. Tell them if you go to school here, graduate here, no income taxes for 5 years. It's an income tax holiday. And the most important thing, we have to be able to assure the executive that this will be a city where we don't lock up toothpaste any longer, but lock up the criminals who make it intolerable to have a good quality of life.
We need to move on to a subject that is
worried about locking up the
Socialists of
toothpaste.
America that stopped Amazon and cost us 25,000 jobs. So
Thank
it's
you,
real
Mr.
life.
Cuomo. We need to move on to a crisis that is very important to a lot of voters, and that is people struggling with mental health problems. Roughly 500 times a day, someone calls 911 about an emotionally disturbed person. And in a limited number of those cases, when the person is not believed to be violent, social workers are dispatched instead of police. Mr. Mamdani, you want to do that on a much larger scale. So we want to know, how will this work? When will you send police versus social workers? You have 1 minute.
You know, we have a program here in New York City called Be Heard that is attempting to do this kind of work. But we've had a mayor who has ensured that it's been unsuccessful, to the extent that even when there was an assessment of about 60% of calls that could have been addressed by Be Heard instead of the NYPD, Be Heard was not actually responsive to it. And that's because we haven't had the political will to deliver on what is a crisis that affects so many New Yorkers, which is the mental health crisis. What my plan will do, an innovative plan of the Department of Community Safety, will take what has worked elsewhere in the country, a program in Eugene, Oregon, where they took 24,000 911 mental health calls out of the police department. They were able to respond to all but 311 without police assistance. When there is a concern for safety or of violence, absolutely, you would have the police there. But what we are doing today is actually ensuring that every single call is going to the police and not allowing them to do the work that they signed up to do.
How will you determine whether there is a concern for safety or violence? What is the line between the calls in which police will be dispatched and the calls to which social workers will be dispatched?
The line is also going to be one focused on violence and the threat of violence. And I also trust the operators who will be receiving those calls to make that determination, as they do every day today for so many emergency services.
And just two really quick points, please. There has been a lot of discussion that you would send social workers to domestic violence calls, which police are concerned about. So you're saying no, okay. And then the other question is, how can you be sure that a situation that does not sound violent when someone calls 911 does not become violent in the moment?
Oh my God, what if this hypothetical scenario, it's actually Andrew Cuomo, but now he's like mutant rape powers.
The experts that have shown us this can work when you're willing to ensure that you're trusting the mental health experts who have been doing this work elsewhere in the country, where they call for the police when they need the police, but their initial impulse when there's no violence in that call is to actually address the mental health at the heart.
What if they're
lying?
lying?
Mr. Sliwa, you have encountered plenty of these types of situations in your decades of work with the Guardian Angels.
Why won't you shoot homeless people?
Do you see this approach
Answer the
working?
question.
You're
we
not
want
a
you to
police
say you want to
officer,
kill
but
homeless
you've
people. Please,
helped out in
Zohran.
situations.
Zohran, boy, another fantasy that's not reality. Eugene, Oregon. Have you ever been to Eugene? I've been to Eugene. Come on, this is New York City. We have so many emotionally disturbed persons that are in need of help.
Up here, man.
I will tell you this,
New York
Andrew,
is
you
literally
closed the mental
safer
health
than
beds
most
that were
other
taking care
fucking
of them.
cities in the goddamn country. I hate these
I
narratives.
know
this
it's
is the guy,
down to
he's patrolling the
4,000
streets
because of
looking
your
for
cuts,
it.
which force these people to live in the streets,
hate
in the
this
parks,
fucking
and the
argument.
subways.
Of course.
These people need to
You
be
haven't
removed.
been to Eugene,
they
they're
need
much
mental
kinder
health
there.
care. We need to make
Our
our
nutties are
shelters
extra
safe.
crazy.
I've been in 1/3 of the 300 shelters run by the Department of Homeless Services. It's Darwinian there, survival of the fittest. If we can make our shelter system safe, we can get men and women who are homeless in there, especially veterans who we're not giving any attention to, who we put out in Ward's Island at 10 o'clock at night, released during the day, don't give any training, have them roam about, and obviously when you have nothing to do, you end up getting into trouble. Okay. This is a disastrous, homeless, and emotionally disturbed plan that we have in New York City.
Because
and I'm the
normally
mayor that
people
can
don't
change
act
it
like
because I deal
their
with them
city
every
is
day in the
Gotham
streets,
City.
in the parks,
But
and the
he's
subways.
from New York, and he
Mr.
still
Cuomo,
acts
do you
like
think
it's
that the
Gotham
NYPD
City.
handles these calls for emotionally disturbed people in distress well? Is there room for something in the middle?
Yeah,
Let me at him. I'll touch all
the
of them.
Assemblyman
I'll
deals
sort
in
them out.
theory. There's an advantage when you actually have experience. I've run homeless programs. I ran the homeless programs for the federal government.
run it just
in cities all across the nation.
Just like the elderly.
When you get a call
Push
on
them
a
into
telephone
camps.
about a mentally ill
Let God
person
sort it out.
who may be violent,
That was one
it
of
is
the
a very
bingo
dangerous
sound of Cuomo
situation.
voice.
And I think you should have a
nonstop.
mental health worker
Cuomo's racist.
accompanied with
Bingo.
a police officer, because these can be explosive situations. I have been in situations that seemed apparently calm and fine, and then erupted into violence very quickly, and it got very dangerous very quickly. So I would have a social worker with a police officer and get the people off the streets. That's the humane thing, and get them the care they need.
It's going to escalate.
Not the
we're going to get all the crazy people off the streets, and then it'll be no longer be a problem.
We have supportive housing now, which is what we use, and forensic beds for people who need them.
Now, let me get this straight. A police officer is there first. He has to wait for the arrival of a mental health care worker.
No, I would send them as a team.
As a team. But that's not realistic. You're dealing with fantasy also.
All right.
The police officers are going to be the first one on the scene, and they're always going to have to deal with it first and foremost.
Mr. Cuomo says that he has experience running homeless person before the What he has experience doing is cutting funding for the very programs that prevented homelessness here in New York City. As the governor, he cut funding for the Advantage program, which was putting New Yorkers who had otherwise been in shelters, otherwise been homeless, into apartments. I met one of those New Yorkers,
Mr. Cuomo,
and she told me how that pushed her out on the street.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Brief response, Mr.
He's
Cuomo.
talking about a program 14 years ago. That was a pilot program that had a work requirement. It was very controversial. It was $65 million.
You're talking about Advantage, just so we know what you're talking
program.
about? Okay.
It was 14 years ago, $65 million. I added billions to the homeless budget. Funded the homeless budget larger than any governor in history.
Okay.
He
okay,
cut
thank
that
you. We want to talk
program.
about.
He
all right.
cut that
Mr.
program.
Mamdani,
Homelessness skyrocketed
Mr. Mamdani,
It
we
did
have aired
not. It
this.
was 14 years ago.
All right.
It was during the Bloomberg administration. And yes, okay.
Okay. I want to ask you about climate change. As New York City confronts the impact of climate change, one issue already on the desk of the next mayor is Local Law 97. Passed in 2019, the law requires large buildings to gradually reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 2030.
A democratic socialist,
that may require very expensive
and then
upgrades
a
to
reactionary
buildings,
rapist fascist
which some landlords
on
and
stage.
co-op owners say they just simply can't afford. We're wondering how each of you would enforce
That's why
the law.
it's 2v1.
You have 30 seconds. Mr. Cuomo.
Local Law 97, I support. Implementing the law is going to be the key because it has to be done in a way that isn't so disruptive to businesses and residences that they just give up and pay the fine and don't even try to comply, which is what is going to happen now. It will be cheaper for them to pay the fine than comply. And that obviously will accomplish nothing. So, yes, I support the law. Yes, we have to implement it, but we have to implement it in a way that is feasible.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Sliwa?
Local 97 will destroy those people who have invested in co-ops and condos. There's 100,000. It's forcing them to electrify. Now, you, Andrew Cuomo, took Indian Point offline, 25% of our electrical capacity with no replacement, which has caused skyrocketing electricity bills. And now we're going to force condo and co-op owners to electrify. Maintenance fees will go up 30%. These people will be leaving their condos and co-ops. They need relief. When I'm mayor, I slow that process down. We need our co-op owners and condo owners to stay here in New York City and not flee.
Indian Point? Yeah. Indian Point was started before me. It was a very dangerous situation. We have nuclear facilities upstate, and my proposal and what I did is run cables from the nuclear facilities upstate to bring the power to downstate. Indian Point had 20 million people in the kill zone.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Mamdani, Local Law 97, how would you enforce the law as mayor?
I support the law, and I would also make it easier for condo and co-op owners to comply with the law, because what I've heard from so many is that it's cheaper to pay the fine than to actually get into compliance. And I think the city has a role here in procurement at a large scale of so much of what is necessary in these infrastructure investments. We've seen it be done in the Clean Energy Challenge within NYCHA. It's time to do it right here in New York City to assist those condo and co-op owners in meeting the standards we desperately need to hit.
Okay, gentlemen, New York City loves its parades, and the mayor is often front and center. You have all said that you want to be mayor for all New Yorkers. So will you march in all the parades that mayors have traditionally marched in? Will you march on the Israel parade? Or are there any that you would boycott? Mr. Sliwa?
Oh, that's
literally, I think a mayor has a responsibility, whenever possible, to march in parades, to celebrate whatever that parade is performing as. I've been a Grand Marshal of the Pulaski Day Parade. I was proud to celebrate my Polish heritage.
Are there any that you would boycott, though? I just need to move this along.
Excuse me?
Would you boycott any of the city's parades?
No, I would not boycott any parades.
Mr.
It's the mayor's
Cuomo,
responsibility to be available to all racial, ethnic, and religious groups.
No, I wouldn't unless they discriminated.
Okay. Mr. Mamdani?
There are many parades that I would not be attending because I'd be focusing on the work of leading this city.
Which parades?
A number of them. I've already missed a number of those parades because I've been trying to speak to as many New Yorkers as possible.
Okay.
I don't have the list of all the parades I've missed.
Wow, that's a lot. The mayor should be going to all parades.
Let me ask you this. Are there any parades that don't exist that you think should?
As mayor, I will be at the...
Mr. Mamdani?
I haven't thought much about parades, to be honest with you.
Mr. Cuomo?
I have not thought... I don't even know what parade doesn't exist, frankly.
Could be for anything. Mr. Sliwa?
Every parade has the right to exist in New York City. I would ask you,
Ms. Mondani,
would you protect the Christopher Columbus statue so that they share the same?
Israel, they want
I'm telling
them
you,
to bring
my
it
focus
up.
is on affordability. I'm not thinking about
Well, you're not
statues.
answering the question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're not answering
yeah,
the
who
question.
cares what the answer to the fucking question
to the
is?
Columbus Day statue.
That issue's come up.
That's what we
earlier
call
in
it,
the debate. All right,
disgraziado.
Listen, we're in the last couple of minutes, and we thought
know what
we'd
that
have
means?
some questions. We thought we'd have some questions that maybe give a glimpse into your life, your personality, away from the political podium. What's your go-to breakfast order at the bodega?
Oh,
Mr.
Andrew Cuomo
Sliwa?
sucks on this.
Oh, eggs and cheese on a roll. No salt, please.
Mr. Cuomo?
Same thing. No salt also.
What?
Mr. Mamdani?
Egg and cheese on a roll with jalapenos.
Yum.
Have you ever purchased anything in a cannabis shop? And if so, what did you buy, Mr. Mamdani?
First of all,
I have. I have purchased marijuana at a legal cannabis shop.
Okay. Mr. Cuomo?
No.
Mr. Sliwa?
When I was shot 5 times, I've had Crohn's disease. I did use medical marijuana. Yes.
Okay. In a dream scenario, we know it's not
Hilarious.
possible, but the
Hilarious.
Mets are
When I was
playing Game
shot
7 of the
5
World
times,
Series
what
on the
does that
same night as the Knicks are playing Game 7 of the NBA Championship, and you can only go to one. Which one will it be,
Or
Mr.
is it Knicks
Sliwa?
or?
Again, which baseball team?
This is the Mets, Game 7, Knicks, Game 7. Even
I'm not going to the Mets game. I'm a Yankee fan. True baseball fans either like one or the other. I'm going to the Knicks game. That's my team, the Knicks.
Mr. Cuomo?
I'm going to go half and half. I can make it back and forth.
All right.
No,
Mr. Mamdani?
This is what New Yorkers are sick of. Just pick a team.
What's
Come on.
your answer?
I'd be there for the Knicks.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of ground covered. We'll leave it on that light
Andrew
note. Thank you,
Cuomo's
candidates,
such a
for a spirited
horrible,
debate. We thank you as well.
horrible
we hope you got a lot out of it.
politician. How is
New York
that
City viewers, New York City
possible?
voters.
Yeah, just
the New York
lots
City
of
Campaign
quibbling, the
Finance
whole-
Board, we thank heartily, and we urge you to check out their website, nycvotes.org. From all of us here, we certainly thank
Wow,
you for
what a
watching. And remember, go
fucking
vote.
shit show that was.
Tuesday, November 4th. Have a good night.
All right, some thoughts on what we just watched.
I think Zohran got it. I think Curtis was shocking in his ability to share thoughts that wasn't being covered.
To be fair, he's done this a lot.
Yeah,
and by that I mean this is his 11th mayoral run.
Yeah,
in a row. He's always the Republican ticket guy.
Cuomo put forward no vision. He just quibbled how that was politics.
What was really good about what Zohran was doing is not only would he actually attack Cuomo, but he would do so within the confines of a clear-cut policy agenda that he was advancing, where he'd be like, I'm going to do this, as opposed to what Cuomo did. So it was a double bind in that regard. It was very good.
Yeah. He moved on from attacking Cuomo in the second half. He was like, I think I made my points. And part of me always wants it to come back. Especially when they were talking about sex workers. I wanted them to bring it back to Cuomo. But I guess at a certain point it's you're either bothered by Cuomo's past or not. And you got to present a vision.
Yeah.
And Zohran presented the most of a vision.
But like I said, out of all of the people on stage, that did not say anything mean about my 9/11 comments, I have to be a Curtis Sliwa supporter.
Yeah.
I apologize, Zohran. I'll hit you up later. My mistake. I thought you were a real one for I was the Turkish Connect, because every New York mayor has to have a Turkish guy.
Yeah, that's true.
And sorry, it's not going to happen for me any longer. Someone made 5K on Cuomo mentioning you. I think that was fake. I don't think that was an actual. Bet.
Okay, so you're Zohran.
I do have a poly market bet though for being arrested before October 31st.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, and people have actually put money into it.
That's
and I don't know
bad system. That's not good.
I don't know what they know that I don't know, that this is even a point of contention somehow. But
have you come to terms with the fact that anyone who likes you, at some point, if they get confronted on a question on a political level, they have to say that was a shit thing for him to say? Have you come to terms with that? No politician in America can go, he was talking in a grand poetic.
No, I think it's been.
He didn't say the people in the tower specifically deserved it.
Yeah. No, I don't have any expectation that any politician is going to defend that statement on its face, and I don't expect them to. But I I think it's like this is not even like a Jeremiah Wright style situation for Obama or like a Sister Soldier situation, because like instead of getting first of all, it's me. I'm so irrelevant in the grand scheme of things that like it makes
irrelevant. But what you're doing, you're not running a church. You're not a politician. And per your point, it was like old 2020 bringing up tweets. It was very like an old school thing.
Yeah, it's like a statement from 2019 about like blowback that I misworded, but I don't expect any politician to like endorse that statement.
And it's the second beat. People would have to truly, the people who would care, who would be bothered and not misunderstand and in bad faith take your comment, don't know who you are. They're older. They'd have to look you up. They're not going to.
Yeah.
So it's just nothing. It's nothing. Yeah. I think it's a plus.
No, it's a nothing. It's a nothing burger. It's a nothing statement, and I think it's like the reason. I think Cuomo's team is doing that because they're extremely online. Like it's a like there are people in his corner that are like obviously extremely online, because like Paul Bless said it best, where he said, why is Cuomo doing this? Who is telling him to talk about Hasan Piker 3 weeks before an election in which he's down 20 points? To me, the main factor in why Mamdani is beating his ass is that he convincingly talks about loving the city and wanting to improve it, and is transparent to anyone who isn't ideologically blinded that Cuomo sees it as a stepping stone to something else he hasn't figured out yet. And it's so obvious, because like the only thing that does is just like elevate my profile in the eyes of people who had not heard about me from a deeply negative politician, like a politician with like really, really bad, like it's.
They said, why did you lose? And he said, it's the social media. I mean, that means there's nothing else that he took from it. There's nothing else that he learned from it other than I have to pour more money into Gen Z running the Twitter. Like that's insane. It's embarrassing that you've had no more development thought to that answer. None of his answers were good. None of them were inspiring. None of them any vision. And he had so much to answer for. Yeah. And I do think that if you've been in politics a long time, it should be hard to keep running. It should be hard, because I don't think it's good to have these politics for 40, 50 fucking years. You should have a record that you answer to, and he couldn't answer to it. And I think that the worse your record is, the harder it should be to get reelected. That's the sign of a healthy system where new things enter.
Yeah. And this is a time unlike any other where people are very clearly demanding that. Like they want that change. They want a fighter. They want someone who comes across as more earnest, comes across closer to the average voter. And Andrew Cuomo is everything. He is everything that people despise about American politics, like the institutional rot.
And he's compromised. I mean, he's compromised in that. And Trump will hold that over his head. And like, I would have hit that more.
Yeah. That's true. And I would have even hit like the fact that he said that he would be Benjamin Netanyahu's lawyer, like on the Israel stuff. Cause like he put like, talk about horrible political instincts, like being immoral and having the worst political instincts where like at a time when the overwhelming majority of the Democratic Party's base had actually, was actually demanding to decouple from Israel, and Andrew Cuomo was like, this is my opportunity to be Benjamin Netanyahu's fucking lawyer. So I think he did bring that up, the Netanyahu's lawyer line. But like,
but he would only bring up so much, because it's just like you got to move on from this.
The parts
that parade question was insane,
I know,
dude.
The parts that I really appreciated, for the record, the parts that I really appreciated in the beginning was when he was talking about like the context of the occupation. I thought that was like unheard of from any American politician.
Yeah.
The fact that he said like, we're not looking at the context of like how October 7 happened, like something along those lines. That is not only a truthful reflection of events, but it's also unheard of. I've never heard someone I've never heard someone say that in any setting whatsoever, like calling it an apartheid. Like because it's true. It's crazy that it's like so difficult to
think, I want to say, like, to my fellow Jewish New Yorkers, just this thing of like demanding the prioritization of the mayoral candidates' views on Israel and demanding that be frontline and center. It's almost become like a joke, the fact that it's so much. And if you're saying like, hey, we'll talk about schools, we'll talk about subways, we'll talk about childcare after we talk about this issue that's important to me, it's not going to engender a love of the Jewish people.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting about this? Because I looked at the polling numbers like recently right? I looked at the polling numbers recently, and it said Jewish New Yorkers still was like 60% sympathize with Israel strongly or somewhat, as opposed to Palestinians, and then it's like 30% strongly sympathize with the Palestinians, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And yet Zohran won in the Democratic primary the majority Jewish vote. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting to me about that is like that, for me, that is the proof that's the proof of concept. Yeah. That for two reasons. One, regardless of how American Jews feel about Israel, it's not their highest priority. That's number one. And number two is that American Jews, New York Jews, they clearly looked at everything that Zohran was representing and they were like, I want fast and free buses.
Yeah.
I don't really like what he's saying about Israel. I love Israel, but like, I want fast and free buses more than...
The more time you spend on the subway, the less you think about Israel. Yeah. I promise you that.
So I think that's really important because it's a testament to the argument that I present all the time whenever fucking Democrats come to me and ask me like what to do about this sort of stuff, or the media, whenever they're like, trying to conduct an autopsy on what went wrong. I'm like, be issue first. Yeah. Be very specific, be issue first, and be definable by the policies that you are advocating for. Yeah. And Zohran did that.
He did that while holding a strong line. Like, instead, I think a lot of politicians, even who are critical of Israel, they try to like they get wrapped up in the conversation. They try to do some kind of balancing. Zohran came up with a very clear line of how he states this. Yeah, he doesn't believe in the right where there's inequality. And then he goes back every single time, almost obnoxiously so. But it reminds people at home, going like, yeah, that's what I care about. Yeah, why would you fucking care about what the potential mayor for New York tells Hamas to do? Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's incredibly dumb to like constantly bludgeon over the head of a dude running for New York mayor to be like, oh, what do you think Hamas should disarm? Do you think this? Do you think that? It's like, dude, these are utterly irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
You could be a mayor who condemns Hamas, and it doesn't mean Jews in New York are going to be any safer because you've created a fucked up a system with. I mean, it's just they're separate things, and he's held his ground.
I like,
and they trained him. I mean, honestly, he got Colbert trained him a little, and then he got to this, and he had his answers ready. Yeah, I mean, it was and Cuomo presented nothing else.
And I do think that, like I said before, he is very good at liberalizing otherwise like left flank talking points and left flank positions. Zohran is.
He doesn't even
like
play into.
Do you think Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state, where he goes, Israel has a right to exist as a state for equal parties with equal representation for all people that live there?
Because you can't disagree with that. You can't go, no.
Liberals can't turn around and be like, how dare you say that? No, it has to be a Jewish ethno state. Then you come across like a fucking asshole. Yeah. So I think he does a very good job of like repackaging that shit. And I do think that it's Cuomo over for sure after this. Like this.
You feeling really confident?
I am more worried about fucking Curtis Lewa. Like,
I just get so scared to get confident about fucking anything, but I do feel good.
Yeah, no, it was a great showing for Zohran. I think he did a very good job of like showcasing his positions. I think he did a very good job of showcasing his positions. He did a very good job of what he's about, what he's advocating for. All the other stuff, I think, all the other attacks that he was going to endure, his associations with a dangerous criminal, Hasan Piker, or his statements about Israel and whatnot, I think he handled very well overall. But like you asked initially, no, my expectation is much worse, because like I thought he could. There was a chance he could just like fuck me. Like I thought he was gonna be like, oh yeah, I condemn Hasan Piker.
Yeah, I learned about it. I cut off all connection to this person.
Yeah, like just fucking.
I unsubbed from the stream.
Straight up
I
lied on camera.
This is a preview of more and more millennial candidates. It's gonna be a debate about tweets. It's gonna be a debate about tweets from a certain era.
It's also stupid because like when Andrew Cuomo brings that up, like I think even if other candidates bring that up in a similar vein, because like I work with a lot of candidates, and I promote a lot of candidates. Like I have a community full of people ready to go for door knocking and stuff like that. And they were all over the Zohran campaign as well.
Yeah.
And that negative association stuff is never going to work for someone like myself because I'm a polarizing figure for sure.
Sure.
But like people know what my political positions are, no matter how hard like someone tries to bastardize them. And you either, if you know who I am, you either fucking despise me, which, you know, there's a smaller group of people who despise me than love me, but they're very loud. Or you're gonna be like, yeah, he's a progressive guy. I like what he's about. I like that he's a fighter, and that's all this is. So the broad majority of the public has no fucking clue who I am.
Yeah,
you know. So it's very dumb to try and hammer on that point because like I'm not like if Zohran had retaliated and been like, you just went on the Impulsive podcast, like if we're talking about podcasts, like you went on the podcast that got
did he really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And you know, shout out to look, I love Mike. Mike is my good friend. I'm not I don't really know Logan at all, but like
if Zohran brought up like the suicide forest.
But like, yeah, he's a much more notable figure is what I'm saying. Like Logan Paul is known by way more people than someone like myself, right?
Yeah.
So for him to try to bring that shit up is so stupid. You know?
But it just fails. I mean, it's what Democrats did with Trump, and it failed so spectacularly. It's just trying to focus on the associations and not presenting a vision. It's too easy. It feels good in the moment, and you think you got the momentum because the people who really hate it, the people who really hate you or really hate Zohran, they're going to be really loud, and you're going to get this reinforcement of like, this is working. But it's just a small select of people who are riding on their hatred of someone.
Yeah, look,
you have to present a vision.
Like he just went on the fucking Impulsive podcast. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's the thing. Zohran didn't go after because he had so much. He didn't have to go after because there's assault allegations.
Yeah.
So and he has such little on Zohran. He has to go over someone he worked with a couple times and is friendly and likes. It's
last tweet in this thread. What is this? Fox News graphic before Zohran interview. I don't think we should have billionaires. The last tweet in this thread. Oh yeah, here. Meanwhile, yeah. While Zohran was on Fox News, Andrew Cuomo was doing the Logan Paul, Mike Malek, Impulsive podcast, and if he wanted to, he could just as easily turn around and be like, "Yeah, you went on the podcast of a dude who went to the Japanese suicide forest and also literally promoted Donald Trump."
Yeah,
and played a role in Donald Trump becoming president. Again, like I said, I love Mike. Mike is the homie. He's the man.
I don't know Mike, so I don't give a fuck.
He's a great dude. I love him personally. I think he's a good dude. Having said that, if we're playing politics and like smear associations, like Andrew Cuomo has so many more like attackable lines.
Yeah, and you guys, I mean, this generation, there's so much media on them that everyone has a one thing. Everyone has a one thing you cling. It's just not. It's going to prove less and less effective as time goes on.
Grok loves you, lol. What is this? Grok does love me. No, Zohran Mamdani didn't say fuck Hasan. He gay as fuck. In the October 16 New York City mayoral debate, he condemned Hasan Piker's 9/11 comments as objectionable and reprehensible. The phrase appears to be satirical exaggeration.
Yeah.
My favorite part was when Zohran said fuck Hasan, he gay as fuck, says Tim Pool.
Yep.
This is what you do when you have nothing to hold on to.
Absolutely.
In this debate, you have no dog in this fight. You have no stake. So you're just like an extremely online guy. And this is what you. What is this? Also, look who endorsed him. No.
I saw that today.
No.
Amy Schumer rhymes with Cuomo.
Oh, it's over. It's over for Cuomo. It's so Cuomo over, dude.
That's someone with their finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
That was sad. Not surprising. And I'm sure it's
it's so done. It's so fucking done.
Do you feel like
what
when Zohran wins? I mean, you've had people where you support them and then they do something that you find objectionable. Do you struggle with being honest about it?
I mean, there are currently prominent national politicians that I do talk to with regular frequency that I sometimes am very critical of.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. Obviously, like the worst example is I never had a direct contact with Fetterman, but like,
what has he done?
Good one.
But you supported him when he was like,
I did. Yeah. I even
that's
like
an easier one.
I even overlooked like the Israel stuff that he was signaling even before, but I thought that was like a defensive posture so he doesn't get like ass blasted by the DMFI, Democratic Majority for Israel. But like, as far as, you know, like AOC here, everyone is already saying it in the chat. Like AOC is a great example. Like sometimes AOC does stuff that I don't fully agree with.
Yeah.
There are very few politicians that I find myself completely in alignment. But I see politicians as servants of the public. Like they are supposed to be almost like an empty vessel that we demand they make changes through.
Yeah.
So in that regard, if I call balls and strikes, there are even Democratic politicians that I otherwise do not align with ideologically at all. But when they do good things, I give them, you know, proper credit. Like Chris Van Hollen is a great example of this. I think he's done a lot in terms of like progressive politics, like really pushing the needle on immigrant rights and like extracting Kilmar Berger Garcia from El Salvador. That was a huge move.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's just the way I see it. So if Zohran fucks up, like, yeah, of course I'll criticize him. I mean, I'll be like, you son of a bitch. I knew you were.
You'll come back and be like, these comments are made were reprehensible and
I'm gonna
despicable.
DM him being like, you fucking you talk shit about 9/11, bro. You kidding me? No, it's just like, it makes sense that you know, there's gonna be stuff that they do because they have to work within the confines of like being the mayor of New York, or work within the confines and like all the external pressure that exists on that role, all the other forces of capital that are going to be coming after him. And the same goes for you know, AOC and Bernie Sanders as well. I've been very critical of Bernie Sanders. I love Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is, I think, a very important political figure in contemporary American politics. But I think his liberal Zionism was completely unacceptable, you know, and even to this day, like his the way he communicates about like saying, you know, but Hamas, even when talking about like the genocide, it's like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, not because like I expect him to praise the Al-Qassam Brigade or something and be like, this today is the day that Yahya Sinwar was martyred 1 year ago, and he changed humanity. Like, you know, that's not my expectation. I'm just like, be truthful, be honest.
Yeah.
Like be honest about like the conditions that led to October 7. And it's disappointing, but having said that, I see the full extent of what they represent and what they advocate for, and where they move where they move the conversation to in American politics.
I think people feel the same way about you and the 9/11 comment.
I don't think it's that big of.
No, I don't think it is. But I'm saying,
I mean,
no.
First of all, you're a comedian.
Please, I'm a comedian. My God, my God.
You made a Holocaust joke.
I mean, listen.
That Candance Owens laughed at.
That's what I'm hoping for the next debate, where a comedian, Gianmarco Soresi, opened the rally. And open the rally with, oh my God, there's like 6 million people here. Sorry, I might be exaggerating. I'm Jewish. Like
the Zohran not believe that 6 million Jews were killed during the Holocaust.
But people understand it, and I think the older people get, and the people who engage with people in the way that they know they put out hours and hours and hours will go, I don't give a fuck that they knew the person who said that one thing on the one stream 10 years ago. I don't get, because we lived through the heat of the tweet. The tweet meltdown, screenshot, your life's over, and we were like, that was silly.
Yeah,
and so it's not going to work.
For the newbies, offer clarification on the 9/11 comment. I mean, I've done it so many times, but it's blowback. That's it. There's already academic consensus on the matter. It's America's it's America's foreign policy in the region that directly was responsible for 9/11, and there's not even any sort of I don't think there's any sort of debate on this matter at this point. And we've consistently kept doing it as well. So
yeah.
But that's it. That's all it was in terms of what America was deserving. But like I said, I think this is a generational thing regardless. Like if you are the accusation, the false accusation in that regard is when people say oh, you think Americans deserve to die in 9/11, which is not what I implied at all.
Of course, but that's always going to be the game. It's to be like, are you saying that these people deserve to suffer?
Yeah. It's just like a super cynical approach, but it makes sense. And it was
To me, it's like if someone said you reap what you sow, and someone said, so you're justifying every consequence that everyone's ever faced in the world.
Yeah.
It's like no, it's about how the world does function.
Yeah, ultimately it's incredibly stupid. It's not all that consequential.
I think Zohran should have stuck by his side harder. He should have said, come on, play the clip. Can we play the clip? Let's get the full context.
Yeah. Your 2-minute interview with THR just dropped. Okay, well, we got to go because our podcast is about to start. We're doing Fear and with Gianmarco.
Fuck yeah.
It's fucking happening. He's a podcaster. He's
Hello.
Mr. Podcast. So get excited for that. And I will see you tomorrow. That's crazy. She's a thief.
You steal my shit.
She's a thief. It's
Take
fine.
them. I tried once. I almost threw up. I tried one.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Don't do 'em. It's bad.
Yeah. Hi.
But yeah, we are. I will see you guys tomorrow as always. Love you all, everybody.
First Twitch stream. Fuck yeah.
How'd you like it?
It was good.
We'll talk more about it on the pod.
Yeah, we will. See you guys.
All right. Okay. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, love you guys. Bye.
All the chatter's trickling in. I'll sell people hay. Sunny Los Angeles.